Employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Carson Wentz is on his way to D.C. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting the Colts are trading Wentz to Washington for a 2022 third-round pick, a 2023 third-round pick, and a 2022 second-rounder. Wentz, after just a year in Indy, has plenty to prove this fall, believes ESPN Washington reporter John Keim.
Now you have a veteran who's on his third team in 3 years. You can't come in here thinking that you're anything other than your guy right now, right? You have to go win the job. You're not the first-round pick in Philly anymore. You're not the guy they traded for in the Colts. You're on your third team, so you've got to be able to keep that job to show something.
John Keim on Barton Hahn. Washington will pay the full $28 million due Wentz this season. ESPN's Jordan Renan's reporting the Giants will likely make a run at free agent QB Mitchell Trubisky. The key selling point is reuniting him with Coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Shane. All three were in Buffalo last season. NBA Suns point guard Devin Booker out the last 4 games while in COVID protocols. Available tonight against the Heat, 7 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app and seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to the sportsocracy.com. thesportsocracy.com. Click on the live video link right there on the front page, and that'll get you through to the live feed on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well so you can get into the chat, which I got a feeling is going to be lit once again today because
don't do that.
We did this.
Your actual age may only be 39. You're not allowed to use the word lit.
I can't use lit?
No.
Why not?
No. Just no. Just move right on past it. Just don't do it again.
Stop that.
Yeah,
it's going to be lit. This whole show's going to be lit. We're going to light it on fire. Big news in the NFL again today. We've had another trade. Another quarterback has been traded. Carson Wentz is heading to Washington, D.C. The Commanders.
Which is as funny as your use of the word lit.
The Commanders are taking the NFC East by storm with Carson Wentz. Yep.
Commander fans, you remember that thing I said about you should trade the 11th pick for Jimmy Garoppolo? And I got all this flack for that. Does that sound bad now? Are you as angry at me as you were, I don't know, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago?
Do you feel better? Do you feel better about it? We'll talk about both sides of this trade over the next 2 hours, as well as all of the rumors are sparking back up again. The story came out today that the grand jury down in Texas is going to be picking up the Deshaun Watson case on Friday. So everybody just starts immediately going, okay, well, now it's time. Now it's time to talk about where he's going to land this year. No, not quite. I think it's still too early to start talking about that.
Closer than you think.
Oh, it's close.
And I'll tell you why.
It's close, but not yet. Russell Wilson, also with him going to Denver, that sparks the next act in his career. We'll take a look at quarterbacks in NFL history who have had really great second acts. And I'll be honest with you, it's not as many as you would think that had really good, solid second acts in other places. Plus, we got to take a look back here real quick before we get into anything else. We got to take a real quick look back at just how the ACC tournament action started today with the Florida State Seminoles. Wait for it. It's coming. Wait. Not yet. Still going. Oh! That hurt when you hit the ground at a startling, 36-point loss?
39, you're close.
Oh.
I mean, we showed up and we put on uniforms and we played 2 hours of basketball. Kind of.
Good.
And as a Florida State fan, I'm real glad that's over. Because that was like watching somebody knock the windows out of my car for 40 minutes.
And our good friend Justin Parton is in the comments already. He's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. He says, well, hopefully that's going to be 2 wins for my Eagles this year. They still have a better quarterback than you do.
I'm going to disagree for the square.
You can if you want to, but you'd be wrong. God, I can already feel it. We're going to fight about something today.
Oh, 100%.
Speaking of Justin.
It might be your use of the word lit.
Justin and the fine folks over at Thermo Fisher Scientific are going to be raising some money, or are raising money, for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina, and they're doing it through the Bowl for the Future contest. So, the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina, you can sign up with a team, go bowling, raise money for the kids. Obviously, the mentor program with Big Brothers Big Sisters is phenomenal. And we have the link in the description of our YouTube video where you can go and donate to the Thermo Fisher Scientific Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl for the Future contest.
You know how I feel about charity. We actually had somebody walk up to us at SoCon and recite a line that I have used on our YouTube stream.
Yes,
which I found to be absolutely hilarious. And thank you for that. And you know how we feel about you.
Yep.
So when these things come up, so long as they're a good cause, which Big Brothers Big Sisters is, we will do everything in our power to support you. So all of our super chats, all of our new member payments for this week will go into the Sportsocracy donation for that Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl for the Future Thermo Fisher contribution.
Absolutely. All right. So absolutely help out the kids. Just help out the kids. All right. So let's get into it here. Carson Wentz gets traded from the Indianapolis Colts to the Washington Commanders.
I swear every time you say that, I'm not going to laugh. I mean, I'm going to do it the first few times. Because when you said it to me, I thought you were messing with me.
No, it popped across my screen, and I went, "Wow, that's something.
That's cute.
That's something.
That's cute."
So
you remember that thing I said about the quarterback market, and this was going to be kind of like closing time, it's last call, and you have to convince yourself of how good this is actually going to be.
Right.
T-da.
Well, I mean, I feel like the Commanders were sitting here with an opportunity to pick one of these young rookies at 11, and they decided not to do that. They thankfully did not give up the number 1 pick, the first round draft pick that the Colts had to give up to Philadelphia to get him. I get it was a conditional. It was a 2. Should have been 1.
I did the math. So I used the Jimmy Johnson NFL draft value chart. He went down by 4 picks. If you add up the compensation year over year, he went down by 4 picks.
So what it is, the Washington Commanders are giving up one second round pick, right?
Yes. They're moving down 5 spots this year.
Right. So they are giving the 42nd pick and getting the 47th pick back from Indianapolis,
which is worth about a 4.
That's
what it would cost to do that.
They're also sending their 3rd round pick this year at number 73 overall, along with a conditional 3 next year, which can become a 2 should Carson Wentz play 70% of the snaps.
Which he almost invariably will.
Well, we don't know that. That was that was the concern last year with why would you give this up? Well, we gave up a 2 to Philadelphia. It becomes a 1. Remember, we had all the discussions of, well, is this the time? The Indianapolis Colts are out of it. They should be sitting Carson Wentz. And then they made that run at the end of the season threatening like they were going to make the playoffs. And so this is the swap of 2s this year, then a 3rd this year from Washington goes to Indianapolis, and a third, possibly a second, next year.
I am now no more convinced than I've ever been that Carson Wentz knows something about the Clintons. That's the only way I can explain this.
They also, we're not done yet, because the Washington Commanders are also going to pick up all of his contract. They are going to pay him $28 million this year, including, or no, that doesn't include, on top of the $5 million signing bonus or roster bonus that he was due from the Indianapolis Colts. So they're picking up all of that money. They came into the day at $33 million in cap space. Anybody want to do the math on how much they have left after $28 million?
Very little.
So you blew your whole free agency wad, plus you gave up a 2 and 2 threes.
All right, theoretical question. Carson Wentz been in the NFL 6 years.
Yes.
In his sophomore season, the year that he could have won MVP, they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. He was the 6th best quarterback in the league. How many years other than that year has he been a top 13 quarterback in the NFL?
None.
It's exactly 0.
Yeah.
Last year, he was 23rd of 37 qualifying quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I do not for the life of me understand this. How would you have been any worse? Just take the journey with me. We've already talked about this is not a great draft class, especially on the high side.
Right.
It's in that meaty portion in the middle of the first round where things get good. You get good value there. What would have been worse than – is this worse than taking Kenny Pickett at 11 and just walking away?
Yeah.
No. So you think this is worse?
Yeah, I think this is worse. I think they'd have been better off
100%
taking Kenny Pickett at 11.
Or Sam Howell, who I had them taking in my first mock draft.
Mm-hmm. Because all of the things that you could do with that money that now you've spent on Carson Wentz.
Which makes absolutely no sense. Is this team one win better today than they were before this deal?
No.
I would argue they're a win worse.
Really?
Yes.
Worse than Taylor
Because
Heineke.
the thing about Carson Wentz is that he will continue to just throw, and he proved it in Indianapolis. This guy was in arguably the worst division in the NFL.
Yeah.
Arguably. Had the borderline MVP at running back. A high-end young receiver in Michael Pittman. And a very good defense. Didn't even make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you have to have a quarterback. I get that. What I don't get is why it had to be this guy. They make the run at Russell Wilson, and I understand Washington not wanting to give that up. Yesterday, I said I would have liked Russell Wilson in Washington better than I like him in Denver. But to go from Russell Wilson and Pat Mahomes to Carson Wentz, that's like somebody offering you. Like, you can buy this Maserati, and you go, well, I don't want to pay that much. Well, how are you going to get there? I'll crawl on broken glass. That is the discrepancy between these two.
Right.
This is one of the top 5 worst trades I've ever seen.
Okay.
I can't say one nice thing about this.
The only nice thing that I can think of is that, I mean, how bad was Carson Wentz really this past year?
23rd among 37 qualifying quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Was he better than Taylor Heineke?
Fractionally.
Fractionally?
Mm-hmm. Taylor Heineke was number 33.
Okay. I think that's a little more than fractionally. I mean, that's a third better.
Okay.
That's a big fraction.
You hate Daniel Jones, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was worse than Daniel Jones.
Who was?
Carson Wentz.
No.
Teddy Bridgewater. He's bounced around the league like a ping pong ball.
Yep.
He was worse than Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep.
Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, Jacoby Brissett. These are all guys that were higher rated than Carson Palmer Carson Wentz last year.
Oh, my gosh. Jacoby Brissett.
I would argue I would have rather you just outright signed Jacoby Brissett than this. And I understand that was in a small sample.
Portion,
I
yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
There's no positive to this. And this is one of those things that I talk about a lot with bad teams. And I'm very sympathetic to this because I pull for one of them. Anytime you just keep doing this revolving door of draft capital, there's a reason you don't get any better.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what you have to have. And so now you have this mediocre at best quarterback. You have one receiver, a tight end that we like but has injury issues. And then Curtis Samuel, who last year was basically a spent year, hope he gets closer to his 2020 form than last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? You don't have any money, so it's not like you can put another outside receiver with this team. So you're counting on De'Ami Brown, who, yeah, I like, but he was super raw. And that's what you're going to put around Carson Wentz? Have we not already seen this? Did we not? I feel like I'm saying the exact same thing about two different teams that I said yesterday. What is the difference between where he was last year and where he is this year?
Well, I mean, do we feel like Indianapolis, obviously what they put on the field was better than what the Commanders put on the field last year.
Okay. I said that poorly. You tell me the difference between the 21 Commanders or the 21 Colts and the 22 Commanders. Oh, you have a really talented defense.
Yep.
Good run game.
Yep.
One good receiver. Do you see where I'm headed with this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get it for the life of me. Oh, we didn't want to wait on Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, that's short-sighted and stupid.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best thing you could have done unequivocally, and I've said it for weeks.
Oh, I would agree with that. I mean, there is no doubt there is a winner in this trade.
Oh, no
and
doubt.
It ain't the Commanders.
No. The Indianapolis Colts, it somehow managed to take some of the worst film Carson Wentz has ever put out. One of the great mistakes that I have ever seen a team make. And they somehow managed to only lose 4 spots in draft capital over 2 years. And whatever you paid him last year. Of which money is cyclical in the NFL, so it really just does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dumbfounded by this. Rob Johnson with our first one of these of the day, which will be going to Big Brothers Big Sisters.
I'm your huckleberry.
He's mad. He stole my line. I'm mad. He is a Washington Commander fan, and I understand it. You should be mad.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Terry McLaurin. You've gone from Dwayne Haskins to Alex Smith to Taylor Heineken to Carson Wentz. That is horrible. Horrible.
Again, though, it is an upgrade over Taylor Heineke.
Not by much. Not by much.
Yeah.
How many games did Carson Wentz unequivocally lose for the Colts last year?
Oh, I don't know.
It's at least 2. I chalk 2 up to him.
Okay.
Baltimore definitively. And I know we heaped a lot of blame on Frank Reich. Well, here's the thing. In the next segment, we're going to talk about where Indianapolis heads. And I have a feeling you're going to say market improvement.
Oh, a market improvement in that team? Well, yeah, because they'll probably end up getting Jimmy Garoppolo.
Maybe. Tyler Cunningham with our second one of these of the day.
I'm your huckleberry.
Let's hope Sam Cosmi and Terry McLaurin get him to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, I'm rooting for you. I like those jerseys better than most. But I'm not sure that you're any better than Philadelphia. Philadelphia's getting ready to put 3 starters in a super deep draft on this team.
Mm-hmm.
And you said we know that Carson Wentz is better than Jalen Hurts. Do we really?
Oh, I think so.
I don't agree with you. The metrics don't agree with you. Jalen Hurts, 14th, same list. 9 spots ahead of Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have much money to spend, but they have a ton of draft capital. I think Washington was the 3rd best team in this division going into the day. I think they're the 3rd best team in the division coming out of the day. And when you invest that much draft capital into it, that's a big ol' F.
Until the New York Giants get Mitch Trubisky, and then they're 4th in the division.
You're laughing at that? I'm not as sure
come on.
of
That defense, come on. Washington's 3. The Giants' defense is not anywhere close to what Washington's is.
How many picks in the top 7 of the New York Giants have?
Oh, they got 2.
Oh, yeah.
But they're going to spend all that on their offensive line, or they should.
Okay. And that brings in Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you mean now I have a limited quarterback with a good running game and a couple receivers with a defense that's improving? Huh. That sounds exactly like the Washington Commanders. Going into the break, a question that I've asked this before, but we've never gotten an answer.
Okay.
All right, so I have always wanted a term, and you can name this after somebody in sports, whatever you want to do, for a just unmitigated disaster of a draft pick, free agent signing, trade, whatever you... What is that term?
What is the
Trent
term?
Baalke. Baalke is the leader in the clubhouse right now. Is there a better name than that? By the end of the show, we will have a definitive great name on just these unbelievably bad moves that teams make.
A Ditka from the Ricky Williams trade.
Yeah, but that's been so long ago. And I feel like Ditka's more remembered for the super fans than he is for anything else.
He's more known for a Saturday Night Live skit than he is for his actual career as a coach or a player.
Yeah, the Ricky Williams deal would be 2.
Right.
Which should tell you a guy that could have been in the Hall of Fame 2 different ways. That should tell you how bad that is. Leader in the clubhouse right now is a Balky. In the comments of our YouTube stream, tell us if there's something better.
All right. Trying to find the name that we should put on something that is just god-awful. Well, we are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We got just a bit outside coming up after the break in the next segment. Also, we'll get into the Indy side of all of this. What is the fallout for the Indianapolis Colts after, again, the big breaking news today that the Indianapolis Colts have traded Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, weather radar showing the biggest rains and thunderstorms down in South Carolina and south of us tonight. Our low 40 degrees. Another front sweeps in this weekend, though, and brings winter back briefly this weekend. 55 on Thursday, 61 on Friday, but the potential for some light snows Saturday. High 36, low Saturday night. Close to records, down to 13 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Home Trust Bank.
Home Trust Bank is ready to help you with what's next. Get rewarded for opening a new checking account. It's their way of saying thanks for trusting them to be your financial partner. Qualifications apply. Visit htb.com/up to 400 to learn more. Member FDIC.
Are you at a dead end when it comes to dealing with that awful joint pain? So was Rick Rawlings.
I did 1.5 years of steroidal injections in my shoulders, both shoulders. They weren't helping at all, and it was just a Band-Aid.
As for the constant pain medication prescriptions,
I didn't get any relief. I didn't get any sleep, so I just stopped taking them. I didn't want to get hooked on drugs.
But one day,
I heard a commercial on the radio about QC Kinetics.
Rick called QC Kinetics and learned all about natural biologic therapies, non-surgical treatments that actually help the body restore damaged joint tissue. And it was life-changing.
After doing the QC Kinetics, I feel like I have a new life again. Today, my shoulders feel wonderful. My only regret was I wish I had done it sooner.
From dead ends to new beginnings. Call today and learn about QC Kinetics' long-lasting relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 826-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517.
Asheville, Monsters of Rock and Roll Wrestling. March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the Egg Center. Metallic Monsters and Raw Horsepower. Tickets now at MonsterTNT.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes.
Hi, I'm Debbie Childress, Director of the Grayson County Alliance, a food pantry in rural Kentucky. Thanks to a local farmer, we recently received a $2,500 donation from America's Farmers Grow Communities, sponsored by the Monsanto Fund, a philanthropic arm of Bayer. As a result, we expanded a classroom where we teach families about nutrition and personal finance. I encourage all farmers to enroll for a chance to direct a $2,500 donation to a local nonprofit. Visit growcommunities.com.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
The underdog, the long shot, the nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen 100 to 1 shot. we know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 6 to 12 count Laurel and Cuddly soft bath tissue, $3.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loop cereal, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Tide laundry detergent, $12.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And we all love kids, right? You love the kids. I love the kids. We all love the kids. And there's a way that you can help out the kids in our community by supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina through their Bowl for the Future contest that they're doing.
Which, first of all, is a great idea.
Oh, yeah. You got so they're getting, businesses in the area to get 5-man teams together. You register your team. Everybody on the team tries to raise money for Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Western North Carolina. And Justin Parton and our good friends over at Thermo Fisher Scientific have a team. And we have the link for you to donate to that in the description of this video to their team as they try to help Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina. In nearly 40 years, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina has served over 14,000 children, helping to hook them up with mentors in the community. Not every kid has a strong person in their life, an adult that they can lean on. So what they do is they obviously have the bigs come into the program. They team them up with littles, and you're the mentor for that kid. Raising money for them is a great cause, and you should go right now to the link in the description of our video and help out Team Thermo Fisher Scientific for the Bowl for the Future.
All of our super chats for the rest of the week and our membership dues will be going to our contribution to the Thermo Fisher Scientific Bowl for the Future contribution from us.
That's right. So follow the link, or you can just join the Sportsocracy on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click on the live video link, hit the subscribe button, and join the House of Reprehensibles. And you can do the super chats that will help you donate money, and we will turn around and give that to the Thermo Fisher Scientific team as they raise money for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina. Let's get just a bit outside.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right, I'm going to let you pick, Jeremy. Do you want skateboards or do you want baseball?
Oh, man, that's like asking me, would you rather have liver or liver?
That's what I thought. So I'll just tell them both. I'll just tell them both. We'll do that.
I did that wrong. I got that wrong.
No, this is real quick. So the negotiations are going on right now to try to get baseball back onto the field. And in the new CBA, one of the ideas that is completely being panned right now, especially by folks in the international baseball community, is an international draft. They do the amateur draft every year. The Rule 4 draft, that only includes players from North America. It doesn't include all of the others outside of the United States and Canada and Mexico, I believe. So an international draft, you would no longer see teams going after these guys from the Dominican Republic like Fernando Tatis and Big Papi. Those are two guys that have already spoken out against this, saying, guess what? This would be bad for the Dominican Republic, which, by the way, for as small of a country as it is per capita the biggest source of baseball superstars in the world. So they're against an international draft. It'd be a 20-round draft. See, the big thing for those guys is the bonuses. If you can get a free agent deal, you can get massive bonuses. If you have a draft, guess what? Those bonuses are going to be capped. So I'm against it. I'm against an international draft, but we'll see if that comes out of the out of the baseball negotiations. All right, the skateboarding story. Tony Hawk has done it again, folks. He got back on a skateboard. and he hurt himself again.
Of course he did, because he's old enough to be my father.
And this one is pretty gruesome. You could just Google it online. Tony Hawk says he is going to come back. He's going to get back on a skateboard at some point. He'll never be able to do it like he used to. Again, that's why he retired from the game in the first place. But he had a full-on femur break. Oh. And it was in half, complete, just gross. Compound fracture. He posted a video of him like trying to, walk down the hallway on the crutches with the nurse trying to hold him up. And it's just, you know what? Thoughts and prayers, T's and P's out there for Tony Hawk as he tries to get back on a skateboard after having his leg ripped in half, basically.
Ugh. Yeah, my story's much more lighthearted than that. Last night, the Golden State Warriors broke a 5-game losing streak with a 112-97 win over the Los Angeles Clippers. Might have had that. But in warm-ups, they had a new player, and he was donning a headband and his Flint Tropics garb. It was Will Ferrell.
Oh, my gosh.
Will Ferrell went... He was screaming, putting hands up in Klay Thompson's face. So the reason this happened, apparently during Klay Thompson's rehab, anytime he would have a bad day, he would put on semi-pro.
Oh.
And his quote was basically, when I had some dark days, I would put that movie on. It'd make me smile. I'm very thankful for that film.
Andre 3000 was great in that, by the way.
And I wanted to tell this for two reasons. One, because it's a cool story. Two, is Will Ferrell aging in dog years?
Why?
Because every time I see him, I think he added 4 years. He looks like him and Bill Murray look like they're the same age right now.
So he's getting older.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's
like really quickly.
Yeah, he's aging like a dairy product, much like I am.
I thought you were saying the other way, like he just continues to look the same age.
No, and now his hair looks really similar to mine. Mm-hmm. He just has a mane of unkempt, graying, curly hair on top of his head.
Why would you do that? Why would anybody do that? Why would any sane person want that?
Oh, I mean, why would you want it? Because you got a mane like this, you don't cut it. I mean, I can tell you my reason.
I'm still shocked. I'm still shocked that HWA has not held you down and shaved that off of your head.
We came to a mutual understanding. Now that it's actually back, instead of me looking like the cowardly lion, she's all good with it.
She's fine with it.
Yeah, she's officially gotten to a point where she's like, yeah, it's fine.
Do you have to go into the house with it in a ponytail now so she can't see it?
I've only done that once, and I'm not going to lie. I pulled so much of my hair out of the back of my head that I went, okay, we're not doing that again.
Nice.
I can't see the back of my head, but I'm going to assume there is a patch back there from that one kerfuffle.
I've never had that problem, so I can't sympathize.
Well, I mean, that's glass half full. You will never have that problem.
I will never have that problem. No, you are correct. I might blind a few people with my bald head out in the sunshine, but I'll never have the problem of pulling my hair out with a rubber band.
You do have a head that's very oblong.
Yep.
Egg-shaped.
It's very egg-shaped.
Yeah. You're the only person I've ever met whose head was pointy on both sides.
It's because they had to use a plunger to get me out.
Okay.
Just pulled that right out of there. The Indianapolis Colts have made a trade. The Indianapolis Colts and the Washington Commanders did the deal today to send Carson Wentz to Washington, D.C. We talked about Washington and the fallout for them. I mean, they just blew all of the money that they had to spend in free agency, basically, minus about $5 million. The Indianapolis Colts, however, now have the most money to spend in free agency, as they have $69 million now.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Plus, they traded up 5 spots in the second round, and they have draft capital in the third round as well. And they've got draft capital going into next year. Could possibly be a second-round pick.
That's the part of this deal that nobody's going to talk about. This was brilliant from the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
This is brilliant from Chris Ballard. Because, and anybody, whether you want to listen to me, Daniel Jeremiah, Matt Miller, whoever it is, we have all universally said the best parts of this draft are day 2. Day 2 is where you are going to see some unbelievable value. And the Colts just got 2 picks for a guy they were going to cut.
Yep.
That's the most dumbfounding part of it. And they were going to cut it. There was no shot of him being the quarterback.
No.
And I've heard varying accounts as to why. Most of it was he was not very well liked in the building. And Frank, you know what? We gave you the chance, and now we're going to do it our way.
Right.
And I cannot. The report out now is that they are going to aggressively chase Jimmy Garoppolo.
As they should. Because you want to talk about an upgrade at quarterback. I feel like that's a pretty big one.
That's certainly an upgrade.
I feel like that's a pretty big one. I believe that Taylor Heineke up to Carson Wentz is a step. But from Carson Wentz to Jimmy Garoppolo, that's a step and a half. I was going to say that's a 2-step leap.
2 steps like lit. Can't use that.
Why? Is that a saying?
That's all you need to know. Just the fact that you don't even know what I'm talking about.
No clue.
Yep.
2-step is apparently some kind of a...
Yeah, Are you 90 years old?
I've never heard that before. What does it mean? Can you not say it on the air? Is that what this is? Is this...
Just moving on, Grandpa.
I mean, the 2-step is a dance. I know that.
Yeah, it is. And I knew you were going to say that. That's why I stopped you.
Yeah.
To me, you look at the Indianapolis Colts. This is how if you're going to not have a top 12 quarterback, which they're not going to, there is no path to that. So what do? You prop up one of those meaty tier quarterbacks with great things around them.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they have anybody they want. Teron Armstead, he could be a Colt.
Yep.
They've already come out and said that Eric Fisher will not be re-signed before free agency, in spite of the fact they've been trying to work on a deal. Well, when you get $28 million off the books, it makes it real easy to go, well, Eric Fisher's good, but we could go Teron Armstead and have that elite left tackle that's a good run blocker, good pass blocker, top 6 in the NFL left tackle. And you can add that number 1 wide receiver to push Michael Pittman down a spot. T.Y. Hilton's already come out and said that he's planning on coming back.
I was going to say, who would that be? Would they go?
Allen Robinson.
Allen
Robinson.
That'd be pretty good.
I mean, I'm going to speak that into existence because it's the place that makes the most sense.
Right. I was thinking like Juju or somebody.
No. I don't need to take that risk. I don't have to. I can go get a guy that's never had a good quarterback in his life. And I'm going to get him on a song because he just had the worst year of his career. And I can put him on the other side of Michael Pittman. I have two big physical wide receivers. And if you're being real honest with yourself, think about the 3 teams right now linked to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay.
You have the Saints they're 1 step away from just being an unmitigated disaster because they're going to lose Armstead and they're going to lose Marcus Williams. Pittsburgh, who, yes, you have things, but I'm really going to want to know what you're going to do before I commit to that. Then Indianapolis. Indianapolis was a competent quarterback away from being a playoff team last year, and they have more money than any team in the NFL. You don't think John Lynch is going to take that into account? Jimmy Garoppolo has been the best good soldier there has ever been, in spite of the fact you traded up to get my replacement, and then I had to start for a year and led you to the NFC Championship game? I don't see any way it doesn't happen. Jimmy Garoppolo will be the next starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, and I look at that team and go, you know what? With that and what you'll add, I like them better than the Titans.
But the Indianapolis Colts, to make that deal, I mean, now that we see the price that Carson Wentz just fetched, the Jimmy Garoppolo price goes up, right? It's got to be a 1.
So I asked that question, and I put out some feelers on, okay, how is this going to work?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a 1 next year.
A 1 next year. Okay.
San Francisco does not have a talent deficiency. They don't have a 1 this year, which was intriguing to them. But could I see it being something to the effect of that 2 that they just moved up with San Francisco, or moved up with Washington, excuse me, and then a conditional 2 next year that becomes a 1 if he plays 70% of the snaps? I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than Wentz just got.
It's it could be a very similar type of deal because you also run that risk, the injury risk with Jimmy Garoppolo.
They want a 1, and I think I could see a path that New Orleans or Pittsburgh were willing to give that I think they're going to take into account how good of because that's something you have to do. It's something that's not talked about a lot. You can't just send Jimmy Garoppolo to Siberia, which is what New Orleans is going to end up being. When you got Indianapolis out there, I think that's where he's going to want to go. Now, look, if it's San Francisco's offering a 4 and New Orleans is offering 19, okay, we're not taking it that much into account.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see how he doesn't end up in Indy with a high-level weapon that they sign. Probably Teron Armstead on the left side. And now you got Jimmy Garoppolo behind one of the best lines in football with the best running back in football.
Mm-hmm.
Good weapons and a good defense. What is there not to like about that?
It's a good point.
And you just look at the discrepancy here between what two teams did. Two teams that, by the way, going into this were pretty close to each other. Washington and Indianapolis were only 2 games discrepant. Now, I understand one played in a horror-awful division and one played in a bad one. They're not that far off. Washington goes, we've got to have a name quarterback. And Washington Commander fans, Jimmy Garoppolo, we can do better than that. Well, you wind up with Carson Wentz. Indianapolis went, don't care. All the money in the world, we can do anything we want to. The infrastructure's good. Jimmy Garoppolo can come in here and succeed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good franchise and a bad franchise. And I don't know an easier way to say that. There's a reason one of these franchises has been good predominantly for the last 20 years, and one of them's been bad. Because one is well run and one is not.
Yeah. For the 6th year in a row, the Indianapolis Colts will now have a different starting quarterback on opening day. That seems crazy to me.
And it's borderline hard to believe.
I mean, think about after all of the stability that you had with Peyton Manning being the guy forever, and then you had, a few years with weird-looking dude from the Burbs. What was his name? Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck. Thank you very much. Andrew Luck. And then all of that started with Jacoby Brissett and Carson Wentz and Phillip Rivers. 6 years in a row now.
Now, I want you to think about what you just said. So that this will be their 6th year in a row with a different starting quarterback.
On opening day, yeah.
Do you know what the records are in those years?
No.
8-8, 4-12, 10-6, 7-9, 11-5, 9-8. They had one horrible year where they were absolutely killed injury-wise. Other than that, you've been good. There is a reason that good teams in this league stay good. Whether it's the Colts, the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, San Francisco 49ers, there's a reason those teams stay good. There is a reason that bad teams like the New York Jets, Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland Browns, Washington Commanders, there's a reason you have been god-awful for 25 years. There's things like this.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny, anytime those two, that a team from one of those tiers trades with the other one, invariably the second one gets absolutely demolished. There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm. The season did not end the way anybody wanted it to in Indianapolis. Of course, we can remember them just falling flat on their faces in the last game of the year against the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do you do that? You do that by having a mediocre quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And just, I'm not saying, but if I were a gambling individual, of which I don't know who would ever do that by going to betus.com using promo code Sportsocracy, getting 125% top match. I don't know who would do that. The Colts are plus 2,500 to win the Super Bowl, and I think it might be the greatest value in the NFL right now.
Wait. The Colts are a contender, but the Denver Broncos are not. Going back to yesterday's conversation about Russell Wilson.
Who do the Indianapolis Colts have to go through? Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill. And
who's been pretty good. I mean,
okay, how many playoff wins he got? It is decided. And the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, those two I'll give you.
The Broncos go through the Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs. And I am glad you asked that way because we have one of these.
I'm your huckleberry.
We actually have two of these, but this one is pertinent to what you just said, and I'll get to the other one in just a second. If you had to pick one of these, Broncos making the playoffs or the Chiefs missing it, which one you got? It's Broncos making the playoffs because I don't see any way Kansas City doesn't. But it's closer than you think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's it's definitely.
I don't think either one's.
Playoffs.
I don't think either one's greatly likely. I just think the Broncos are going to make it as a 7 seed. Indianapolis, I could see it, but you have 4 free wins every year. If you do what I just said, you have 4 free wins.
Mm-hmm.
How many free wins do the Broncos get? I've already looked at their schedule. It's 2, and one of them is the Jets, and that team's going to be better than you think, and it will be in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing will be given to Denver. Indianapolis walks to 9-8. Walks to it.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully they can do more with it because they couldn't do it this year.
And it could be better than that.
It could be.
The other one of these, speaking of this, all of our Super Chats this week will be going to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Western North Carolina.
I'm your huckleberry.
The first one was from Matt. The second one's from Tyler Cunningham. If the Panthers hadn't given up their left shoulder and lung for Sam Darnold, we could have considered Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, or Jimmy Garoppolo.
Their left shoulder and lung. The second-round pick, that was your shoulder and your lung?
A 2, a 4, and a 6. By the way, as the resident Jets fan of this show, I would be remiss if I didn't point this out. There's a graphic floating around the interwebs of what the Seattle Seahawks got for Russell Wilson,
right,
and what the Jets got for Jamal Adams and Sam Darnold. It looks strikingly similar, which makes me want to go fly to New Jersey right now and hug
Joe Douglas.
Just hug Joe Douglas.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much better the Indianapolis Colts will be. They obviously have all of the tools to make it happen, though. And that's the thing that should scare everybody. When you have this amount of money to spend in free agency and you have the draft capital that they now have. And that's the other thing. Maybe they can take that capital and turn that to San Francisco. That would be what I would be trying to do.
I would say the most likely is they end up trading 42 to San Francisco with a conditional 2 to get Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
There are teams that are reticent, especially with shoulder injury. If Jimmy was just up and everything was hunky-dunky, then, yeah, Pittsburgh would probably be willing to come off 20. New Orleans might be willing to come off 19. With the shoulder, I don't know that that's the case.
Right.
And then you get some security, and that's a lot. That's actually a nice haul for Jimmy Garoppolo that you can use to pad the team around Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Rob Johnson asked in the comments, what are the chances the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins? Well, I'm glad you asked that, because before I saw Indianapolis somehow find a way to get 3 picks for Carson Wentz and they took all the money, I would have said 0. Now that I've seen that, who knows? Anything's possible.
Could I get 2 ones from Philadelphia? Can I get two of Philadelphia's ones for Kirk Cousins? Because you can count me in.
No, you can't.
Come on. Not that I necessarily want to see Kirk Cousins in a new place. I think.
No, I would say, and I know there's been talk. At this point, look, any team that needs a quarterback, they're calling on everybody.
Mm-hmm. They're doing the same thing the Washington Commanders did. The problem is the Washington Commanders called 32 teams. Apparently the only one that was available was Carson Wentz. Apparently they decided we need to overpay for Carson Wentz. Because not only did you give up 3 picks, but you're also taking on his entire $28 million salary for this year.
That's the part that's baffling to me. I wouldn't have been as hard on him if it was just the compensation.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you're taking all the money is dumbfounding. But I mean, and here's my question: who is your competition?
Right. Who else was making a bid?
Do you really think the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to pick up all of that money?
No.
If you do, I have a bridge to sell you, because they've never done it in the history of the franchise, and you think they would do it now? The New Orleans Saints, they don't have $28 million.
Right.
The only way they would have $28 million to pay Carson Wentz is if they went somewhere with a stocking cap and a gun and did crimes. Don't do crimes.
Don't do crimes at all. Again, the big story of the day, Carson Wentz headed from Indianapolis to the Washington Commanders. The Commies, they're taking over the NFC East, apparently. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Jeremy's got the picks of the night for you coming up next. Greene on Greene. Let's see if he can win us some money.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Last year, Lowe's completed 100 impact projects in communities across the United States as part of 100 Hometowns. Lowe's is making its largest ever commitment to give back to the communities it serves. Over the next 5 years, Lowe's will invest $100 million in community impact projects for those in need. Nominate your hometown project in need by March 28th. Visit Lowe's.com/hometowns to learn more, or follow us at #Lowe'sHometowns.
Jeremy and I have been on the weight loss journey here, and it continues with PhD Weight Loss. Our combined goal of weight loss on PhD is 200 pounds, a little over 200 pounds actually, and we're rocking it out. I am over 40 pounds down in 12 weeks. Jeremy, I
am under 260 pounds for the in my early 20s. I'm sleeping better, I feel better, and it's all because of the convenient, healthy food from PhD Weight Loss.
They make me feel great in my own skin for the first time in a long time. Body's changing, like my body structure is changing, and it's weird. Like I'm walking straighter and I'm walking a lot more because I don't have that 40 pounds weighing me down. It's going to help me get rid and just ditch that sedentary lifestyle that I've been living. Eating healthier with PhD Weight Loss, it's changing my life. You can let it do the same for you. Go to myphdweightloss.com. It's myphdweightloss.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
Remember how 15 years ago I switched to Progressive? Well, I used all those savings to buy that golf club that swings for you. But now everyone who plays golf is really good because, the club swings for you in the future, which is now.
So switch to Progressive and save big because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Look at this. J.D. Power awarded Cricket #1 customer service and purchase experience in the MVNO segment.
Huh. Award-winning service has a nice ring to it. Say it again.
Award-winning service.
Ooh, again.
Hear ye, hear ye. Announcing 2 more reasons to switch to Cricket and their award-winning service.
Wow, it does have a nice ring to it. Switch and see for yourself.
For JD Power 2022 wireless customer care and purchase experience mobile network operator performance studies award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. Have you ever cooked a really fine gourmet meal? Yeah, me neither. But I'm told it all comes down to the ingredients. And when I need ingredients to improve my car, the place I go is eBay Motors. Whether you roasted your last transmission, graded your current floor mats, or pureed your side view mirror on a lamppost, eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And by the way, if you recently fired up your grill, don't worry, eBay Motors has grills too. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Coffee still closes on.
Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Well, last night in the fun NBA was more fun than usual. Could have been a great night for me. Thanks, Jonas Valanciunas. But tonight we try to get back on the horse. This is one of the ugliest slates in the NBA I've seen all year. So we're going college. First one, the Virginia Tech Hokies are a 5-point favorite tonight against Clemson in the ACC Tournament in Brooklyn. Clemson's bad. And they had to play last night. This number's not high enough. I had this at 9.5. Anytime I have more than a basket discrepancy, I'm going to roll with it. Give me the Hokies -5. Next, Ole Miss is a 4-point favorite against Missouri. See exactly what I just said about Clemson and just substitute Clemson Tigers for Missouri Tigers. Give me Ole Miss -4. Finally, Virginia is a 6-point favorite tonight against Louisville. The over-under is 122.5. This might be the first one to 40 wins. The over-under is ridiculous. It's going down all day, and they set it too high. I am aggressively on under 122.5. And wahoo wah, the Virginia Cavaliers move on in Brooklyn. Give me the Cavaliers minus the 6.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And you can take those wagers to betus.com. BetUS.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500. The promo code Sportsocracy at betus.com.
If you're curious what I meant by Jonas Valanciunas, I one-off played DFS last night. I'm very picky about slates I play in the NBA. Yeah, he cost me about $7,000.
Yeah, you want to know how that went? Pretty much like Florida State's trip to the ACC Championship.
Why? Why are we doing this again?
I have to. I mean, you played that Alabama fight song forever. It felt like after the SEC Championship game. Yeah, we got it back. I feel like it's all even now.
I was gonna play it again, but it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same effect that it once had.
It doesn't have the same effect.
Yeah,
does it not?
I might have. I might have had Florida State. I might have Florida State against Syracuse today, minus 1.5.
Oh, really?
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Yeah! Let's do it!
Yeah, we were.
I feel so good.
Yeah, we were preseason number 2 in the conference, and we got beat by 39 by a Syracuse team that was 0-10 against Quad 1 this year.
Yeah. Did not go well for the Florida State Seminoles. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons are in a dogfight right now with the Boston College Eagles up in Brooklyn at the ACC Tournament second round. The 13th seeded Boston College Eagles are up by 2 with 11:30 to go, 47-45.
Yeah, whoever the 4 seed has to be sitting there going, please lose. Please lose.
Well, I mean, I felt like Wake Forest was sitting there last night going, give us Boston College. I mean, no, they would have,
I don't think they were exactly quaking in their boots over either potential opponent.
No, they weren't. But, anyway, be careful. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
Scott Gutschall said that loss was a punch in the gut. That's tremendous wordplay. Buddy Boeheim punched one of our players.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. Wow.
It's tremendous wordplay.
Yeah.
Big fan. Big fan of wordplay here in the Sportsocracy.
I'm a big fan of the PhD weight loss program because after being on this program for 15 weeks, I'm down to 250 pounds. I have lost 45 pounds on this program, and I'm not hungry. That's the biggest thing that keeps sticking with me is that they give you 80% of the food that you need to have success on this program. You just got to throw in other healthy stuff on top of it, salads and some proteins and stuff. But I have lost an enormous amount of weight, and I am not there yet. I'm going to keep going.
I am back to my high school weight, and with this being a busy time of year for us, seemingly every person that comes up to me, the first thing they say is, you look different. And I'm still not used to the fact that they're talking about my weight. Convenience is what got me in this situation. Fast food was always more convenient, but PhD takes all that away because their food is convenient, but it's good for you. I'm sleeping better, and I feel better than I felt in years.
To be fair, their first response is, oh my God, what'd you do with your hair? Second thing is, yeah, Jeremy, you do look slimmer. You do look much slimmer. If you too want to take some of the focus off of your other features, and people go, "Wow, you look great," go to myphdweightloss.com. That's myphdweightloss.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, weather radar showing the biggest rains and thunderstorms down in South Carolina and south of us tonight. Our low 40 degrees. Another front sweeps in this weekend, though, and brings winter back briefly this weekend. 55 on Thursday, 61 on Friday, but the potential for some light snows Saturday. High 36, low Saturday night, close to records, down to 13 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Ray Magliozzi here. I don't cook much, but when I need ingredients for my car, eBay Motors has 122 million options. So whether I toasted my transmission or cooked my clutch, eBay Motors has all the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Join iHeartRadio all month as we celebrate the passion, power, and immeasurable impact women have made in the world. It's Women's History Month. Enjoy great stations powered exclusively by females, like Women's History Month Radio, playlists like Women of R&B and Women Who Rock, and personally curated playlists by some of the most influential women in music, like Shania Twain and Madonna, plus tons of featured podcasts like The History Chicks, Red Table Talk, and Stuff Mom Never Told You. Let iHeartRadio be your Women's History Month one-stop audio destination.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Sean Lisi, one and done in Indianapolis for Carson Wentz. ESPN's Adam Schefter's reporting the Colts are trading Wentz after just one season to Washington for third-round picks in 2022 and 2023 and a 2022 second-rounder. Washington also will pay the full $28 million due to Wentz for the 2022 season. The Commanders likely see Wentz as a short-term solution, though, believes ESPN radio host Chris Canty.
They believe that he's a guy that can win them football games in a down division, but I guess long-term, I'm not quite sure that this organization is sold on Carson Wentz being their guy. If you just look at the draft capital that they forked over to the Colts, that doesn't scream to me that they found their franchise quarterback. It feels like they found Mr. Right now, as opposed to Mr. Right.
So Wentz back in the NFC East gets to face the Eagles, the team that drafted him second overall in 2016 twice this upcoming season. NBA looking as if the Suns get a big boost for tonight's game against the Heat. Devin Booker is available, was out the last 4 games while in COVID protocols. Coverage of Miami and Phoenix, 7 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. ESPN Asheville and the Sportsocracy heard everywhere, live or on demand on the iHeart Radio app. You can also see us now on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on the live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can also join the House of Reprehensibles. We have super chats. You can donate money to the cause this week. We have our good friends over at Thermo Fisher Scientific, and our good friend, House of Reprehensibles member Justin Parton, are bowling for the future. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Western North Carolina, obviously trying to raise as much money as they can for their mentor programs, and Thermo Fisher Scientific and Justin Parton doing their part here, and we're doing our part by trying to get the word out for them. Just go to the link in our YouTube description of this video, and you can give to the cause there. We had big movement today as Carson Wentz was traded from the Indianapolis Colts to the Washington Commanders. Still want to say football team. That's going to stick with me for a while. We had Russell Wilson traded yesterday from the Seattle Seahawks to the Denver Broncos. Today, much of the conversation before the Carson Wentz trade was announced was about Deshaun Watson, because the story came out that the grand jury down in Texas is going to be picking up that case and determining whether or not criminal charges should be filed. They're going to hear that evidence on Friday. And so everybody got crazy of thinking, oh, we're going to have a decision on Friday. Y'all know that's not how this works, right? Grand juries don't normally do that. I mean, unless it's just they find no reason at all to bring any charges, it's going to go out the window, and it could be done Friday. However, grand juries can take months to figure things out.
That's not even kind of true.
Yeah, it is.
That's not even kind of true. Not in a case like this. If you think they're going to adjourn over this, you'll know on Friday where this is going to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Name me a high-profile case where you had more than 48 hours with a grand jury. I'll wait, because you ain't going to come up with one.
Not one. Okay.
And I'm going to use the Tom Selleck line here.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old cop saying that you could get a ham sandwich indicted on a grand jury.
You can, yeah.
If this goes away, if they choose not to indict, because the information's not going to get any different than what they have right now.
No.
And this is not from me. I'm not playing amateur lawyer just because I like watching true crime shows.
Mm-hmm.
If they do not indict, and this grand jury chooses not to do that, Deshaun Watson will be on a different team by the time free agency starts on March 16th.
Agreed.
Now, if they do, throw it out the window because it's irrelevant.
Oh, yeah.
Because you will not take the risk. It will all goes back into the ether, and the Houston Texans are stuck with the same problem that they've had for a year.
Absolutely. If criminal charges do get filed, there's nobody that's going to take on that risk. However, with all the rumor mill churning about the grand jury and what's going to happen, it all started up again. Where's Deshaun Watson going to land? And then, of course, our good friend Jonathan Jones from CBS starts all the Panther fans into a tailspin. He's based in Charlotte, used to be a Charlotte reporter for the Charlotte Observer, and says the Carolina Panthers, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the three teams that are watching closest to the Deshaun Watson situation right now. Okay. That's fun to say, but the likelihood of him landing with any of those three teams, I feel like is very minimal. I don't feel like, because remember, Deshaun has options here. Like, should all the legal stuff go away and he wants to come back, he has the no trade clause. So he has to sign off on whatever deal is there, just like Russell Wilson. Yesterday, the deal was pending Russell Wilson's approval. Well, Deshaun Watson has that same power as well. There were reports the first time around that Charlotte had a deal on or Carolina had a deal on the table, and Deshaun Watson said no. He wouldn't come to Carolina. So I don't feel like anything's changed there.
It's 100% changed.
You think so?
Deshaun Watson would take a trade anywhere at this point. If you get him out of Houston, he'll do anything. I'll only go to the Dolphins. We don't have any leverage. You are fresh out of leverage. You will go where someone will take you. Because the Dolphins are out. They've already got. Anytime a team comes out and says we're out, they're out.
Yeah, but if you were willing to say no the first time, I don't feel like you're very high on the list. Maybe I should say it that way. Because there's not going to be just one team. If all of this goes away, it's never going to go away. But you know what I mean. If there's no criminal charges,
there's no indictment through the grand jury, and right. I saw Patrick Holt in the comments send O.J. Simpson. They're a little different there. And the grand jury did not take that long. The first grand jury was recused, and that was a capital case. Slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it this way. As of right now, I know there are 4 teams that are monitoring this situation. One of them, you're going to have to explain to me how they would come up with the money because I cannot figure it out. It's Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea how you would make the money work.
No clue.
Not unless you gut the roster. If you gut the roster, then you got a shot. I don't see Pittsburgh doing this. I know they've been attached to it. I don't see a path that happened. Carolina's one of the few that makes sense. It's one of the few that makes sense.
Okay. So he could warm up to Carolina.
But from everything I've heard, if the grand jury fails to indict, the market on Deshaun Watson will be robust, and it will be robust in a hurry.
Absolutely. And I'll be shocked if it's less than what Russell Wilson or what they just got for Russell Wilson.
See, I think then that gets into more conditional. And I'll just tell you the way this was told to me. If this grand jury doesn't indict, the chances that they run the risk of running this back are not high. That is not from me. That is someone that knows law much better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I know what true crime shows tell me.
Okay.
And documentaries, because I'm a big nerd.
What do you mean by running it back?
I don't see I don't see a path that they would fail to get an indictment here, and then they would just try this case again.
Oh yeah, no.
Because the information is not going to change.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you're 2 years into this.
Yeah, they have all the information they're getting. Because there would have been more. There would have been more added to the civil lawsuits and all of that. We would have heard about it by now. We've got the 22 accusers, 23 accusers.
23, I believe.
23 accusers that he's facing out there. There aren't more out there. Rusty Hardin, or not Rusty Hardin, the other one, the other lawyer, he would have found more to add to his civil suits.
In the comments, Scott Cutshaw said they have 180 days from the day grand jury starts to have an indictment. I got that.
Yes.
This is a way different case than that. Everything about this screams you're going to know something within just a matter of days.
Oh, yeah. I'm not expecting it to take months. I'm just saying it can take months.
Everyone. It absolutely can.
Right.
The longer this takes, the worse it is on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any path that you're going to go that route. And there seem to be a lot of people in the NFL that think you're going to have a resolution on this on Friday.
And you very well could. You very well could. But that's not what we do. We're not cops. We're not lawyers. We're not on the grand jury, and we haven't seen all of the evidence. All that we can tell you is that the grand jury is going to be convening. They'll be hearing evidence on Friday. Deshaun Watson also is supposed to be being deposed in the civil suits, and Rusty Hardin, his lawyer, says he's going to plead the fifth because the grand jury is meeting right now. And I'm not going to have him out there speaking about these cases, knowing that there could be criminal charges coming. But with Deshaun Watson and with Russell Wilson, they're going to have second acts. At some point, I feel like Deshaun Watson will be back in this league. He will be playing again. Russell Wilson, he now goes to the Denver Broncos to start his second act. We do know that is happening. And Russell sending out the tweet today. I saw, "Thank you, Seattle. We'll always love you." Nice and clean. How many great second acts, though, have there been in NFL history of guys who spent a whole lot of time with one team and then went to another team and had great success? I mean, we've got a lot of, I'm going to use your guy. This is not an opportunity to throw shade.
He's about to say Brett Favre.
No, I was going to say Joe Namath. Joe Namath, he spends all this time with the New York Jets, and then he ends up going to the Los Angeles Chargers, and it was awful. Or the Rams, excuse me.
And he could barely walk.
Right. I mean, we have these happen. But the best one, I think it's got to be Peyton.
See,
I don't think anybody's ever had a second act like that. Go to 2 Super Bowls after you won one already.
Well, there's a common theme between all of them. Every one of these teams that winds up with a quarterback that's the second act, they struggle at quarterback for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about how long it's been since Denver had a quarterback.
That's since Peyton.
That was 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a slew of Drew Lock. The thing I struggle with is what constitutes successful. So Brady's going to be high on this list. He was there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You won a Super Bowl, and now you are poopy.
Oh, the team? Yeah, the team is. Yeah.
Oh, you're just talking success of the player.
Yeah, I'm just talking about when you do this, when you make this move.
I misunderstood that.
Yeah, no. This is when you make the move. Did it pay off for you? You went out and you got Peyton Manning as the Denver Broncos. You brought him in, and he set records. I mean, his second year with the team, he set the NFL passing record for a single season. He set the touchdown record, throwing 50 touchdowns. He went to 2 Super Bowls in his 4 years with the Denver Broncos. I don't think it gets any better than that. And he, won one of them. Wasn't because of him that they won one of them, but they did win one of them. So I think he's got to be there. We've seen two of them in the last 2 years. Matthew Stafford this past year, he's already on the list because he immediately went to a Super Bowl and won one. Tom Brady's the other one. Won 6 Super Bowl titles with the New England Patriots and then goes to Tampa and wins one with them. Now, this is not going to be that kind of a deal. Russell Wilson's going to be in Denver, we think, for 5 years, 6 years.
I would say it's about 5 years.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
I said yesterday I don't think he's going to age particularly well.
Right. But we see a lot of this with the aging quarterback. The aging quarterback who's on his last legs. The team's been, he's been with one team for a long time. And like Brett Favre. Since you wanted to bring him up, we'll bring up Brett Favre.
I didn't want to. I just thought you were going to.
Because Brett Favre, look, I have a list here of 10 guys. 10 guys and a couple of honorable mentions that have had good second acts. Brett Favre is on that list. I mean, when you get a step away from the Super Bowl with your second team, actually it was his third team. Jeremy wishes it was his second team. Actually, I guess the Jets would have been his third team because he was in Atlanta first. Yeah. But started out 8-3 with the Jets in that 1 year, and then lost 4 out of the last 5. And then he went to Minnesota, and they lost in the NFC Championship game. I feel like that's a successful second act.
It is. And I would say the Brett Favre Minnesota run is very similar to what you're going to see with Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will be good. They will be competitive. But I still don't see them as a Super Bowl contender. And I don't really think they're all that close.
See, I disagree. I think they are close. I mean, you look at those weapons and go, they're going to be able to score some points. And the defense has always been good.
The problem with Russ has never been weapons. Well, that's not true. It was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not now. He had Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. I don't think you had a weapons problem.
Well, no, he didn't have an offensive problem. They had a defensive problem.
Well, they had an offensive problem that they couldn't protect him.
That's true.
And I don't see anything different here. I think Russell will be a prodigious quarterback in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
He always has been. But I just think it's going to look a lot like what we've seen before. The team stays 9, 10, 11 wins, gets into the playoffs, and you see the discrepancy in talent very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Because they're paying Russell so much? Is that?
Well, the paying Russell hurts. The amount of draft capital that you had to give up hurts. Just think about the fact they took Brock Osweiler in front of Russell Wilson 10 years ago. And the Jacksonville Jaguars took a punter. It was a good punter.
But how many years have you been saying that about Seattle? That they're not as good as everybody thinks they are?
It's 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I was very right the second year. I was pretty right the first.
I mean, they went into the playoffs and lost.
They were never a threat to win anything that year. And any Seahawks fan that's being honest with you will tell you that.
Yeah, but they still won 12 games that year.
The thing I can't wrap my head around is what is the purpose in just being competitive? We're just another team that trots out here. I don't get that.
Is football not more fun when your Jets are competitive? When you guys were going,
I'm the wrong person to
when
ask
you
this.
guys went to back-to-back AFC conference title games, and unfortunately couldn't get the job done and go to the Super Bowl. But
I would rather go
football
0-17 than losing the AFC Championship.
That's
game.
ridiculous.
I've done it 3 times. Trust me, I can speak to this quite intimately.
Mm-hmm.
It is way more, and it's just how gutting it is. But now, if you make it to the AFC Championship game, you were competitive. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is being that 5, 6, 7. You're not even vaguely competitive for your division because every one of these divisions, to me, there is clearly a team that is the best team in the division. There's clearly a 2, and then there's a drop-off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to me, I just look at Denver and the Chargers. You're right there together.
Right.
And I get it. I mean, it makes it more fun. All right, go down your list of second chance quarterbacks.
Okay.
Actually, we'll do that after the break.
Okay.
We'll go down the list of second chance quarterbacks because I prepped something completely different than what you were after, and it kind of proves the point of what I'm trying to say with Russell Wilson.
All right, we'll have more second act talk coming up next right here on ESPN Asheville. You're in the Sportsocracy. Check us out at thesportsocracy.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, weather radar showing the biggest rains and thunderstorms down in South Carolina and south of us tonight. Our low 40 degrees. Another front sweeps in this weekend, though, and brings winter back briefly this weekend. 55 on Thursday, 61 on Friday, but the potential for some light snows Saturday. High 36, low Saturday night, close to records, down to 13 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Interstates are moving problem-free on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Traffic volume busy and steady, especially on the westbound side. NC Highway Patrol reporting in Henderson County near Mountain Home. NC 191 Haywood Road near South Rugby Road. An incident here. Expect congestion. Hendersonville Road moving well. Sweeten Creek Road problem-free. On Bavard Road, no backups. Charlotte Highway moving well. And on Tunnel Road, no delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors.
Ray Magliozzi here. I'd like to carry more parts, but I barely have room to think in my garage. Luckily, eBay Motors has all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. Can't imagine stocking that many parts. Where would I get all those shelves? eBay Motors. Let's ride.
If you're suffering every day with joint pain, stop and listen. You can get real lasting relief now with the natural biologic treatments of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative solutions that can restore and repair damaged tissue with no surgery and no drugs. This is the relief you've been hoping for your aching hips, knees, shoulder, and lower back. The unique protocols at QC Kinetics were created by a physician with years of study in regenerative restorative medicine. They're treating patients every day in hundreds of clinics nationwide with remarkable success, life-changing results with zero downtime. It's the new, better, smarter, non-surgical, non-invasive way to deal with joint pain. And yes, they're right here ready to help you now. Call for a free consultation. Make this spring and summer your best ever with no joint pain holding you back. QC Kinetics, located in Asheville and Greenville. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
There's a lot of talk about the COVID-19 vaccines, and everyone has an opinion. So I went to somebody I already trusted, my doctor. Talk to your doctor or healthcare provider and make the decision that's right for you. Go to getvaccineanswers.org for the latest information. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle squeals or grinds when you slow down or just isn't stopping like it used to, you may need new brake rotors and pads. Now through May 24th at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 15% off a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Restore safe braking and save money now at O'Reilly Auto Parts or order online at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Debbie Childress, Director of the Grayson County Alliance, a food pantry in rural Kentucky. Thanks to a local farmer, we recently received a $2,500 donation from America's Farmers Grow Communities, sponsored by the Monsanto Fund, a philanthropic arm of Bayer. As a result, we expanded a classroom where we teach families about nutrition and personal finance. I encourage all farmers to enroll for a chance to direct a $2,500 donation to a local nonprofit. Visit growcommunities.com.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
Back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is here too. He's here. He's doing stuff. We're talking second acts of quarterbacks in NFL history. When has it gone really, really well? Because Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, they're getting ready to, I feel like they're both going to land on this list at some point. They will knock somebody off of this list because I can see, look, what's the one thing people have been saying about Russell Wilson for years? Of the team around him may not be great. He's got great players, don't get me wrong. Tyler Lockett, and even you go back to the Doug Baldwin days, he was, hell on wheels. Marshawn Lynch, Chris Carson, you can go through the whole list. I mean, he's a winner, though, and he's going to change the culture in Denver, don't you think? Or he becomes a part of a already decent culture.
I think now you're a good, not great team.
Mm-hmm.
You're markedly better at the most important position in football.
Agreed.
I don't think I see Russell Wilson the same way a lot of other people do.
Okay. All right.
There is more of a difference to me between Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson than there is Russell Wilson and Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm. So I went through and I was just trying to throw together, like, what are the best quarterbacks in history that have had a good second act. So I used the qualifier of you had to spend 5 years with your first team, and then your second act, how successful were you? Peyton Manning obviously is number one for me. He went to 2 Super Bowls, won one with the Denver Broncos, and set all kinds of records. Tom Brady obviously goes to Tampa Bay, wins it in his first year. They were a threat to win it this year, got beat by the eventual Super Bowl champions. In the playoffs. Matthew Stafford, he now lines up on this list because he won a Super Bowl with the LA Rams this past season. Drew Brees. Jeremy forgot all about Drew Brees because he didn't think he was in San Diego that long. But he technically was in San Diego for 5 years and ended up going to the New Orleans Saints, and we know how that happened. Became one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, won a Super Bowl with Sean Payton. So he's on the list. Kurt Warner is the next one on the list for me because he did go to a Super Bowl. He lost it, but he did go to a Super Bowl in his second act. Won one in 1999 with the St. Louis Rams, and then he went to New York for a year to be the stopgap for Eli Manning, but then he goes to Arizona and takes them to a Super Bowl. And then you got Brett Favre, who went to the NFC Championship game with the Minnesota Vikings. Randall Cunningham. Some people may forget. Like, we remember how great he was with the Eagles, but remember he retired, and then he unretired and came to Minnesota, and they got one step away. They were the team that lost to the Atlanta Falcons the year they went to the Super Bowl in 1998. Warren Moon is on that list. I mean, he did take his team to the playoffs. At least there's that. Didn't win a game with them when he went to the Minnesota Vikings as well. And then you got Joe Montana. Joe Montana goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, goes to the championship game, eventually, lost. I think it was, who did they lose to? I can't even remember. I think it was the Pittsburgh Steelers that they lost to in the AFC championship game. But Joe Montana. And then you got to go back to Fran Tarkenton, who should be higher on this list. I get it. I mean, he did. So he was drafted by Minnesota, goes to New York for 4 or 5 years, then goes back to Minnesota for another 8-year stretch, and then went to 3 Super Bowls. Of course, he lost them all. But those are success stories. You got Michael Vick. You can add his second act because there's never been a second act like that before of a guy who went to federal prison and then came back and had some of the best years of his career, I guess 2 of the best years of his career there in Philadelphia.
Now, do you know what every one of those scenarios that you just said that are in the free agency era that involved a trade, do you know what every one of those situations has in common?
What's that?
The team that traded the quarterback, the second act quarterback,
yeah,
they had their guy within 2 years. Every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The team that traded for the second act quarterback, as soon as that guy was out the door, they went 5+ years with nobody.
No plan.
That's the problem. The way the NFL is set up now, this is a win-now move. This is probably the best way I can explain. It's not that I'm against it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to warn you of, I've read this book enough times. Think about New England and Tampa Bay. Who's in better shape right now?
Tampa Bay or New England?
Mm-hmm.
New England.
By a wide margin. By a wide margin.
Yeah.
I know this is hard for you to admit. It's by a wide margin.
We still got more playmakers than they do.
Indianapolis and Denver. Indy had Andrew Luck. Denver's gone Brock Osweiler, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. It's a 100% all of your chips to the middle of the table. If it works and you win a Super Bowl, nobody will ever say it was a bad idea. But what happens when you don't? When you don't win a Super Bowl? And they take out a guy like Favre because the Jets didn't give up anything for him. And then Minnesota gave up even less to get him from New York.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when you actually give up capital to get a guy.
Yes.
Or you have to completely push all of your chips together. You're putting all of the offense around to make the run to the Super Bowl. You better win one. Because if you don't, it's going to be really ugly on the backside.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my fear with Denver, is that now you have no capital to put things around Russell Wilson. Money's going to be tight because you've drafted so well that a lot of these guys are getting ready to get really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So you are where you are, with a young coach, a very good quarterback, and a lot of young question marks around him. And I guess because I've been doing free agency profiles heading into the start of the league year next week, that defense is a lot more flux than you think it is. And Von Miller ain't coming.
No, I don't see that.
Have you seen
happening.
the report on Von Miller?
No.
Yeah, he told Justine Anderson, my goal is to get it done with the Rams. They've treated me well, and that's what I want to do. There is a slim chance that it doesn't, and then I'll look at my options.
Mm-hmm. I've always thought that was his best option.
That was what made the most sense.
Right. I mean, they're doing the same thing. They're going to try to do the same thing in L.A. that they did in Tampa last year of we're going to run it back. We're going to get everybody back that we possibly can. I thought it was, far-fetched. I'll say that. I thought it was far-fetched that Von Miller was actually going to come back to Denver.
I would agree with that.
But now,
Russell Wilson made it more. If they can't work things out with the Rams, that'll be his first call.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. I mean, he's very connected to the community and all of that, and the Broncos still have, what was it, $30 million in cap space after they made that deal?
It's not that much, but they're in pretty good shape.
26. Over the cap currently has them at 26. So you still got $26 million to make some plays with. And I feel you can patch holes on that defense. Here's the thing. You were saying yesterday, how is this any different? How is him being in Denver any different than the situation he was in Seattle? One to me is that Seattle, I feel like, is on the downslope, and Denver is on the upslope.
And I wouldn't disagree with that. I just think the ceiling on Denver is drastically lower than you do.
Could be.
And I can't believe I'm the one defending the Seahawks. The Seahawks are living by the Jeremy Greene model of building an NFL team.
Right.
Either be good or be absolutely horrible.
This is the fun time where I like to pull out a trivia question for Jeremy to see if he can get it. As I was pulling all of this on the second acts of quarterbacks, can you name the 4 quarterbacks who have started Super Bowls for different teams?
Tom Brady.
Yep.
Peyton Manning.
Yep. Get 2 of them real quick.
Kurt Warner.
Yep. That's 3. Now, can you name the 4th?
The 4th one is, this is the dumb one, I'm assuming. There's always, anytime you ask me a question like this, there's always a dumb one.
This is the one that you go, really? Because he does not belong in the class of any of the 3 quarterbacks that we just mentioned. Oh, God, this was...
Is it in my lifetime?
No, it's not in your lifetime. This was in the 70s.
Oh, boy.
I can give you the teams, and I bet you still can't tell me.
Oh, if you give me the teams, I certainly can do it.
Dallas and Denver.
Danny White?
Nope.
Dallas and Denver. Okay, maybe I can't do it.
Craig Morton. Morton started Super Bowl 5 for the Dallas Cowboys, and he started Super Bowl 12 for the Denver Broncos. He's the only one that has started for different teams in the Super Bowl and lost both of them.
I should have known that.
Yeah. I don't see why. Craig Morton? That brings a picture in your head? Because it didn't for me, and I'm older than you.
I don't know anything but sports. So when I get thrown something like that,
it's very, very fair.
Kevin Vick's lovely wife that works here at iHeart with us, Brandy, was telling us about. You were standing there, so maybe you know the band. Do you know what I'm referring to? When we were at SoCon over the weekend,
and she mentioned 5 Seconds of Summer.
I didn't know it. Literally, she said that their daughter wanted to see a 5 Seconds of Summer concert, and I looked at Brandy and said, I don't know if that is the artist, the song, or the album. I have no idea.
No clue. Craig Morton, though. Rings a bell.
I should know. 5 Seconds to Mars or Summer or the Apocalypse, whatever that stupid band was.
That
I don't know.
That was like 3 different bands all in one. On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville. All right, this one's for the people in the back. Don't do crimes. Just don't do them. You had a body part story yesterday. I got a body part story today. Police say that they found a foot in a bag on the street in Brooklyn.
A foot?
A foot. A severed foot was found inside a bag in Brooklyn on Monday afternoon. It says the appendage, which police said appears to be a leg, was discovered in a bag on the sidewalk along Jamaica Avenue in Cypress Hills around 3:30 in the afternoon. The medical examiner's office will determine what they can from the body part, and an investigation is ongoing. Here's the weird part of the story.
That's not the weird part?
That's not the weird part of the story. Here's the weird part of the story. The weird part of the story is it was not immediately clear if the leg had any known connection to the woman's torso that was found in a garbage bag in a shopping cart on March 3rd, 3 blocks away.
I feel like Brooklyn needs to stop doing crimes.
Look, I just don't feel like this case should be that hard to piece together. But it's...
Don't use lit and don't tell jokes. Okay, those are 2 things that I can do that you probably shouldn't. A 30-year-old man in San Diego. He didn't listen to the show.
Uh-huh.
He did crimes.
Oh.
He was coming across the U.S. border in California. He was stopped by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Well, when they stopped him, he was acting a little, I'll use your word, squirrely. And it made the agents a little nervous. So they decided to search his truck. When they searched his truck, they found a suitcase that contained all of his clothing. Well, one very forward-thinking customs agent decided to search that suitcase and found 52 live reptiles, some of which are on the endangered species list, wrapped in his clothes. He had them in bags, and they were tucked in the pockets of his pants. There were horned lizards, 43 horned lizards. TCU probably looking for their mascot. And 9 snakes. Okay, look. And maybe this harkens back to my single days, and I'm a little touchier about certain things than others. What is the allure of a snake? Like, can you not just go buy a poodle and be done with it? Why do you have to have weird critter pets?
Because they're cool.
Are they, though?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with a horned lizard?
You just watch him. You just watch him scurry around.
See, and that's one of those things I don't understand. And now, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a pet guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dogs, cats, anything that you want to, more power to you. I can do a dog. That's fine.
Yeah.
I understand a dog because a dog gets very excited when you come home. And a dog does like tricks. The snake does not do tricks, okay? I don't, for the life of me, understand why people do.
You don't think it does tricks?
What's it?
You ever seen a rat? Or seen what they do with rats?
Yeah, here's
That's
Slithery's trick. It didn't kill me in my sleep. Good Slithery.
That's like I keep telling my wife, I want a tarantula, and she won't let me have one.
And I side with your wife.
What a big furry spider.
First of all, that tarantula's life would not be ideal. I know how clumsy you are. That tarantula's life would be in danger at all times.
Oh,
I don't care how much PhD you do. That tarantula would be in danger at every impasse.
I wouldn't let him roam free. It's not like I'm just gonna let him crawl on the couch and then sit on him.
What's the point? You put him in a little carrier, and that's his life. Basically, he's in tarantula prison, and that to you that'll be fun.
It'd be fun to look at.
Let Harry the Spider roam free amongst his tarantula friends.
Right. Leave him in the desert. Don't bring him to Western North Carolina. Make him live in a glass box.
I've never understood that. I'm not gonna lie. I dated a girl with a snake, and I think that has just completely changed my opinion.
Tell me now. Is this the one that burnt your couch?
Sure is.
Of course it is.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, you can never trust a girl with a snake.
I will never reveal the name, ever. If we do this show until I'm 90 years old, I will never say a name. But yeah, basically every story like that, it all ties back to the same person.
Tiffany. That sounds like a Tiffany.
And then I met HWA, and she laughs at these stories regularly.
As she should. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina is doing their big Bowl for the Future fundraiser. Teams from different businesses around the community can register at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina's website, and they try to raise money for the mentor program there. And Justin Parton, a member of the House of Reprehensibles here in the Sportsocracy, he works over at Thermo Fisher Scientific. They have a team, and we want you to support them because, you know, we are big supporters of charity. I wanted to say it, but I couldn't.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't say that.
The line you have to watch in the happy hour. We'll use the line.
Yeah.
All right. Top 13 interior offensive linemen in the happy hour today at 5
There you
o'clock
go.
on YouTube. We're big fans of charity.
Exactly.
And this is a charity that we can 100% get behind. This is a great program, and we want to do all that we can to help. So throughout the rest of this week, all of our super chats, all of our membership fees for anybody that wants to join the House of Reprehensibles, if you've been resisting doing that for whatever reason, the small little fee that you incur for joining that and getting your beer mug in our chat and all those things, that goes to the Thermo Fisher Scientific team with Bowl for the Future.
Yes. And you can click on the link in the description of this video, or you may have to copy and paste it. I'm not sure how that works. Okay, you can click it.
You can't post them in the comments because,
Gotcha.
you know, it just like everything else, people abuse privileges.
Right.
So YouTube went no more links because people were putting crimes in the links of YouTube videos.
Right.
So now I have to put it in the description. Can be easily found.
Yes, it's in the description. It says Bowl for the Future in real big letters. I tried to make it as easy as possible for you to see it. Just click on that link, and that will take you to Justin's fundraising page. We want to make sure that we support Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina and all the great work that they do.
I will also be sharing this on the show's social media pages, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those things, all at the Sportsocracy, and then I'll be sharing them on my personal ones too. It's at the Flostradamus, no W.
At the Flostradamus. All right. Wow, we're going to overtime. We got overtime in the second round.
Did Boston College come back?
In the second round of the ACC Tournament up in Brooklyn, they are going to overtime. Wake Forest and Boston College knotted up at 70 apiece. And man, this they're showing the replay right now, the end of regulation. Good double coverage. And what's that team? What's the other team? The
Boston College and Wake
the
Forest.
Boston College, yeah. They don't have Boston College on their uniform, so it's throwing me off. Boston College misses the shot at the end of regulation, so they are going to overtime. Should we check back in and see how the first game of the day went? Oh, no. Don't. I mean, it's getting close.
How long are you going to do this?
We're getting closer.
How much fun are you going to have with this?
It's just today, because it ain't going to be worth talking about tomorrow. The Florida State Seminoles got spanked by Syracuse in the first game of the day in Brooklyn as they lose 96-57.
You're going full troll right now.
I am.
I don't get a lot of amusement with my teams, okay? Florida State basketball is all I've had for quite some time.
Right.
So, okay, could you just leave me alone?
Nope. Kevin Vick's Clemson Tigers will be taking on Virginia Tech coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. And the 9:30 game, Virginia Cavaliers against the Louisville Cardinals in the second round of the ACC Tournament. I mean, is it Duke's to win? Just flat out?
Yeah. Oh, if Duke doesn't win this tournament, something went horribly wrong.
I'd like to see him match up with Carolina again.
Let me tell you something straight up. Just as an impartial non-fan of either. I mean, Carolina's where my allegiance lies, but no, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You don't want to see
Coach K. You
Coach
take your
K.
win and you just ride off into the sunset with that. Because you lather that up again, I promise you're not going to like how it goes.
Oh, it's going to go. It will definitely go differently. North Carolina will not play as will any of the others until tomorrow. The top 4 seeds all getting that double bye, and we already have Duke taking on Syracuse in the Thursday action. The rest of it will be decided today.
Without even seeing a line, Duke minus whatever that number is. They cannot put a number high enough on that for me to. It won't be out yet.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, it won't be out yet.
They won't do that until tomorrow or until they're all done.
It'll be later tonight.
Oh, okay.
There will not be a number high enough they can put on that I wouldn't take Duke.
Duke minus 17.
Duke.
Easy. Okay. All right. That seems interesting. All right. It's time for something to chew on. Let's check on with our good friend Caleb Peak.
They're looking to decide they want a timeout. They're going to let him play. Jean-Baptiste with 1. He's it for the win. Oh! Chattanooga with a game-winning shot in overtime and a shot he will never forget. Oh, my goodness.
Ask and ye shall receive. This is Chew on That, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. I'm Caleb Peak, and it was David John Baptiste putting up a prayer as the red lights came on at the end of Monday night's Southern Conference Final. The miracle he asked for came true, and the Chattanooga Mocs knocked off Furman to punch their tournament ticket in the most legendary ending to this tournament in many, many years. I was lucky enough to be standing courtside watching this madness play out, so forgive me if that Disney-like final sequence is still replaying over and over again in my mind. But in the day and a half that's passed since the Mocs miracle, something else is becoming pretty obvious. General Bedlam is breaking out across college basketball, and I am here for it. It wasn't an overtime 30-foot buzzer beater that decided the Horizon League in Indianapolis, but it was a clutch time stop and pop by Wright State guard Trey Calvin with 10 seconds on the clock that put the Raiders up for good over Northern Kentucky. Sure, NKU was up 16 points with 11:41 left to play. So what? This is March. In the Atlantic Sun, newcomers Bellarmine University out of Louisville, Kentucky, ran the table against their conference rivals, taking down Jacksonville 77-72 to claim conference hardware. The only problem? Bellarmine is right in the middle of a 4-year conversion to Division I status and isn't yet eligible for the NCAA tournament. So, even though 1 seed Jacksonville State lost their semifinal at home to Jacksonville University, Jacksonville State is going to the dance simply because they were the regular season champs. Tough pill to swallow for Jacksonville U, which hasn't made the tourney since 1986, and it's just a weird situation all around. And, lest we forget, insanity this time of year isn't just reserved for the mid-majors. North Carolina's 13-point trouncing of then number 4 Duke on Saturday at Cameron Indoor on the occasion of Coach K's final home game as head coach is hands down, unarguably the most shocking upset in college basketball this year. Yes, I realize that St. Mary's beat number 1 Gonzaga a while ago. This is much, much bigger than that. If you look around, you'll notice something happening in college basketball. The underdog mentality, while it's always made an appearance come tournament time, is spreading. It's proliferating, and it's doing so because for the first time in decades, there's a true power vacuum in the NCAA. Gonzaga's number 1, sure, but this year, sans Jalen Suggs, the Bulldogs just don't have the offensive bite that carried them to the title game in 2021. Blue Bloods populate the top 10, Arizona at 2, Kentucky and Kansas at 5 and 6 respectively, Duke weighing in at number 7 nationally. But every last one of these programs have losses they desperately wish they could take back. In the dance, one bad performance is all it takes to find yourself out of the bracket and in your lazy boy, watching Jim Nantz call the action for other teams who were able to put it all together. Opportunity is knocking for some hungry, title-starved programs all across this land. I've maintained since October that this could be the year of the mid-majors, and it still very well could be. But one squad out there has gotten me to buy in, hook, line, and sinker. With the old-school jerseys, a nationally respected head coach, and 3 straight sellouts at Thompson Bowling Arena, the Tennessee Volunteers are finally doing all the right things. Throughout this season, there's been more than a couple of games where Tennessee has just looked flat, low energy, bad decision-making with the ball, even outright confusion from time to time. Yet, more often than not, the Vols have prevailed. Santiago Vescovi and company handed Arizona their first loss of the season on Christmas Eve. They allowed 107 points in Lexington against John Calipari's Wildcats, only to respond by thumping number 4 Kentucky in the rubber match 76-63. And after a lackluster performance during a much closer game than it should have been at South Carolina, Tennessee answered the bell against number 14 Arkansas, downing the Hogs 78-74. Rick Barnes just won his 750th game as a Division I head coach, good for 7th all-time. The Vols are perfect at home for the 4th time in program history, and everyone wants to see Kennedy Chandler, one of the most important guards in basketball today. Those 3 straight sellouts I mentioned headed into the SEC Tournament, Thompson Bowling Arena holds just shy of 22,000 people. The last thing you want to do is give Knoxville, Tennessee something to scream about, because when you do, and Neyland Stadium can attest to this, they make a lot of noise. The UT women's basketball program is historic. Pat Summitt was an all-time legend, and the floor at Thompson Bowling rightfully bears her name. But the Tennessee men, 0 national titles, 0 Final Four appearances, 8 Sweet 16 appearances dating back to 1967. This year, that all changes. This year, the team with the biggest dog inside is going to cut down the nets. Every dog has his day. It's high time for Old Smoky to have his too. I'm Caleb Peak. That's something to chew on.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
No accidents or stalls in the roadways. 40 westbound in Haywood County remains slow between Fines Creek Road and Harmondin Road as construction continues. On the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, traffic moving well and steady. Smoky Park Highway, no backups. Patton Avenue, incident-free. New Leicester Highway, moving well. Merriman Avenue, no backups. And Biltmore Avenue, moving problem-free. Checking the drive time from Mills River to Hendersonville via NC 191 southbound. Drive time 15 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Sometimes it feels like your business is going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. Dell Technologies advisors have the Windows PCs and tech you need to help you get past whatever's in front of you. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
As a marketer, you want to reach everyone, adults, teens, millennials, but it's not like these groups all hang out in the same place, right? Actually wrong. They're all right here, listening to radio commercials just like this one. Radio ads connect with 93% of Americans every week. That's more than Google, more than Facebook, more than TV. In fact, radio reaches 20% more millennials than TV. Want more of the people you want to talk to all in one place? Visit iHeartAdvertising.com and get AM/FM working for you. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Last year, Lowe's completed 100 impact projects in communities across the United States as part of 100 Hometowns. Lowe's is making its largest ever commitment to give back to the communities it serves. Over the next 5 years, Lowe's will invest $100 million in community impact projects for those in need. Nominate your hometown project in need by March 28th. Visit Lowe's.com/hometowns to learn more or follow us at #Lowe'sHometowns.
Ray Magliozzi here. I don't cook much, but when I need ingredients for my car, eBay Motors has 122 million options. So whether I toasted my transmission or cooked my clutch, eBay Motors has all the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Okay, so we got the chorizo dumplings, the cucumber empanadas.
Zara's food truck is popping off.
Come on, guys, let's pick it up, all right?
But if she doesn't find a new chef, her truck will be stuck.
Carl quit this morning, so Jessica, I'm gonna need you on the fryer.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Debbie Childress, Director of the Grayson County Alliance, a food pantry in rural Kentucky. Thanks to a local farmer, we recently received a $2,500 donation from America's Farmers Grow Communities, sponsored by the Monsanto Fund, a philanthropic arm of Bayer. As a result, we expanded a classroom where we teach families about nutrition and personal finance. I encourage all farmers to enroll for a chance to direct a $2,500 donation to a local nonprofit. Visit growcommunities.com.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg and cheese, or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 6 to 12 count Laurel and Cuddly soft bath tissue, $3.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loop cereal, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Tide laundry detergent, $12.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. It's time to win some more money with old Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene.
Last night with a push and 2 wins. Tonight, I've already given you one of these. I got 2 picks in the NBA as well. First one, wahoo wah! The Virginia Cavaliers are a 6-point favorite against Louisville. I got 50 on it. Virginia is slow as sin. And Louisville's just not disciplined enough to beat a team like this. Since Chris Mack was fired, they've been a little better, but not drastically. This is a super talented team that is just ready for the season to end. Give me Virginia minus the 6. Next, the Chicago Bulls are a 5.5-point favorite tonight at the Detroit Pistons. I got 50 on it. Chicago is, I don't know why they're so undervalued by Vegas. Detroit is, yes, better at home. Not that much better, and they're still terrible. Mm-hmm. I have absolutely no idea how Vegas thinks they're going to slow Chicago down. Not only do I like Chicago, I like the over. I got 50 on it. Chicago minus the 5.5. Finally, the Orlando Magic are a 9-point dog tonight at New Orleans. As somebody that had Jonas Valanciunas last night, I can attest that Memphis could have beaten them by 60 if they wanted to. This New Orleans team is not good. Orlando's not good either, but they're at least scrappy. They're big enough to be a pain. Wendell Carter's been playing really, really well. This is an over-evaluation to Jalen Suggs possibly not playing tonight. I could care less. I got 25 on it. Orlando Magic plus the 9.
And you can take those wagers over to betus.com, betus.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500.
I don't hate Orlando in the money line tonight. And I'll tell you another, and I don't know the number on this. I didn't put it on the screen because I didn't know definitively that Devin Booker was going to play when we set this up earlier today. With Devin Booker back, I like Phoenix a lot. And there's a possibility that Jimmy Butler's not going to play. If Butler were to not play, Phoenix becomes the home run, no doubt, lock of the century, and I'd have 100 on it.
Yep.
But you won't know that until it comes out, which will be after this here program.
Things not going the way of the ACC Coach of the Year or the Player of the Year. Steve Forbes and Alondis Williams and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons trail by 3 right now with a 1:14 to go in overtime against the 13 seed Boston College Eagles, 77-74. We're going to talk conference tournaments coming up tomorrow on the program. We've been digging through trying to find the best odds in all of the major conference tournaments for you to maybe take home some shekels.
And I've got a couple hammers. There are some dark horses. We've talked about this. This is a weird year in college basketball. There is no one outside of the ACC that you look at and go, they're a no-doubter.
Mm-hmm.
The Big East had 5 potential winners from 5 college basketball writers. It's wide open, which means it's a great time to make some money.
It is wide open, and it's a 5-point game now. Boston College on top of Wake Forest trying to knock off the number 5 seed. Top 4 seeds will start play tomorrow. So that's Duke, Carolina, Notre Dame. Who's the other one I'm missing? Oh, well. Anyway, ACC quarterfinals coming up tomorrow. We'll talk about that. We'll see who gets traded tomorrow in the NFL as well. We had Russell Wilson yesterday. Yeah, Russell Wilson yesterday. Carson Wentz today going to the Washington Commanders. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 3 right here in the Sportsocracy. Stay tuned on the YouTube stream right now for the happy hour as we're going to talk top 13 interior offensive linemen in this upcoming NFL draft.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, weather radar showing the biggest rains and thunderstorms down in South Carolina and south of us tonight. Our low 40 degrees. Another front sweeps in this weekend, though, and brings winter back briefly this weekend. 55 on Thursday, 61 on Friday, but the potential for some light snows Saturday. High 36, low Saturday night, close to records, down to 13 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need.
Liberty. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
No accidents or stalls in the roadways. 40 westbound in Haywood County remains slow between Fines Creek Road and Harmondin Road as construction continues. On the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, traffic moving well and steady. Smoky Park Highway, no backups. Patton Avenue, incident-free. New Leicester Highway, moving well. Merriman Avenue, no backups. And Biltmore Avenue, moving problem-free. Checking the drive time from Mills River to Hendersonville via NC 191 southbound. Drive time 15 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Sign up for Lowe's MVP's Pros Awards and Partnership Program and get exclusive rewards to help level up your business. Program subject to terms and conditions, valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms, subject to change.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy. Welcome all you reprehensibles into the happy hour. It is time for a Top 13 Wednesday. This feels weird. It's not on a Tuesday. You screwed up my alliteration, Jeremy Greene.
Yeah, and I will continue to. Everything all of a sudden had alliteration. That's way too much of that.
It's not. Top 13 Interior Offensive Linemen for the upcoming 2022 NFL Draft. We will get into that. Any of your questions that you have, comments as well about the news of the day in the NFL, ACC Tournament, anything, you just throw it up in the comments and we will get to it. So the thing that we couldn't say on the ESPN Asheville show.
We're sluts for charity.
We're sluts for charity. We're absolute sluts for charity, and that's why in the link to this video you will find, or in the description of this video, you will find the link to Justin Parton's Thermo Fisher Scientific Team page for the Bowl for the Future fundraiser for the Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Western North Carolina. We are a one big family here in the Sportsocracy, and we like to help out. So if you got a cause, you're doing something special, you can hit us up as well. But this time, it's Justin's turn, and we will try to show him the biggest outpouring of support that we can as they try to raise money for the mentor programs at Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Western North Carolina. All right, Jeremy, you ready to start the list here?
Yeah, this is a position in this draft that there are some developmental guys, but there's not a ton that I feel great about. This is the first list we've done where I struggled to find 13 guys that I felt really good about. And seeing 13, if you've watched our draft coverage, you're going to realize exactly what that means. Because number 13 is Chris Paul out of Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
I like his line mate, Tyler Smith, obviously drastically better. Chris Paul probably, at this point, he's being driven up a little bit. One of the problems for him is he played tackle. At times at Tulsa, he was very susceptible to speed rush. This is not the dancing bear that you're looking for to play on the outside. There is no doubt in my mind he is a guard.
Mm-hmm.
6'4", about 325. And he's going to need some development. He's not a great run blocker. He's not a great pass blocker. Technique needs some refinement, but there's a lot of raw to like. He's very strong. And there was some good tape of him as a run blocker. The problem is he was incredibly inconsistent. Now, could that be tied to the team he was on? Absolutely. They not great. There was a talent deficiency around him. But he's very smart. Does have a bit of that edge that you're looking for. But this is not a plug and play. Hey, we drafted a guard in the 4th round. He's going to come in and start right away. That's not how this is going to roll. I'm afraid that a team's going to try to do that, and he'll be out of the league in 3 years. But he is my number 13 interior offensive lineman in this draft, which should tell you everything you need to know about how I feel about the depth of this class.
Interesting. And did you know this about Chris Paul?
He has the same name as the current point guard of the Phoenix Suns. Yes,
great handles. He's got great handles.
Yeah, his ball handling is fantastic.
No, his profile here says that he is a musical artist, and he produced an EP in 2020 under the stage name of The Seventh. So you might want to check that out. See if Chris Paul's musical tastes align with yours, maybe.
If you ever want to know what the two of us bring to draft coverage, there it was in a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yep,
that's
it was
right.
in a nutshell.
That's right. You've got all of the bend and the length and all of the things, and I got, hey.
He plays guitar.
Hey, you don't know. You don't know what kind of music it is. Don't judge it until you've seen it.
You got to turn my board back on.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
All right, Chris Paul's at number 13 on the list. Number 12, out of Oklahoma, Marquise Hayes.
I'm not as wild about this kid as a lot of other people are. I think he is a good developmental player. I think he can come in and start right away in a pass-happier scheme. I think the L.A. Chargers, Kansas City doesn't need a guard, but Arizona, I think he can do that right away. The problem is that his technique is brutally bad at times. And that's a common knock on Big 12 linemen because they play in a system. There's a lot of offenses in the Big 12 that just do not translate to the NFL. That's why they are some of the hardest grades to give out. Now, this kid's a giant, 6'5", 325. He's just a mountain of a man, and he's strong as hell and very athletic for the size he plays at. Didn't necessarily show that at the combine, but there is some technique refinement that is going to happen specifically. This is a guy that shouldn't even be really, in my opinion, shouldn't even really be on the board for teams like Baltimore that are really high-end run teams. Mm-hmm. And, they have young guards anyway. But if what your goal here is the zone blocking teams, I feel the same way about them. That's just not what he provides at this point. Could he do it in time? Sure, if you've got the patience. I just think he's going to go higher than he should. The thing about positions like interior offensive line where they're really thin, because for me there's a huge chasm between Marquise Hayes and the player I have at 11, because I really like the player at 11. But that's the 11 that I really trust. The bottom two here are more projection. I think they can be something in the long run. My fear is if they get drafted too high and they're asked to do too much too early, they could be it could be very bad for them in the long run. Mm-hmm. The other problem I have with Marquise Hayes is a lot of the best tape I saw on him was against really small Big 12 defenders. You're not catching guys like that in the NFL. You're going to be across from guys like DeForest Buckner and just gigantic monster humans. And then he's kind of a good – Marquise Hayes is kind of a good explanation of what you have to look into with a guard, because you have to take away just the physical limitations. And I always use the example of the two of us. I'm 6'5", 255. Tank's 5'3", 6'12". That's not true. He's on PXD. He's down to like.
I weigh less than you do now.
And I'm also 9 inches taller. So you're just a little wispy thing.
Facts.
They don't care about your feelings.
Exactly.
But one-on-one, if we did the Oklahoma drill against each other, it's not going to go well for him.
No.
Because he has physical limitations that I don't. That's what I see a lot with Marquise Hayes is, these little 220-pound blitzing linebackers in the Big 12, he throw them around like a rag doll. Problem is, that's not what you catch in the NFL. So you have to take all of that good tape, which is the bulk of his good tape. You have to take that out and go, that doesn't translate to the NFL. And when I saw him going up against guys that were, for lack of a better term, pick on somebody your own size, well, then he got picked on. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm afraid will happen in the NFL if he's asked to play early.
That guy at number 11 that you really like.
Look, I said this last year. If you didn't learn the fucking lesson last year, I cannot help you. And I literally was talking this kid up last year when I was talking about his line mate that wound up as one of the best draft picks last year with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. Cade Mays out of the University of Tennessee. Could have stuck around at Georgia and won a national championship, but no, he wanted to go to Tennessee. I think his brother played for Tennessee. His dad was also a legacy at Tennessee, so you couldn't really fault him for that. It wasn't working out in Georgia, and Georgia did just fine without him. But Cade Mays went on and had a damn good career, or second half of his college career, with the Vols.
Now, look, what I'm afraid people are going to hear what I just said is they're going to say, oh, that's the Trey Smith of this year. It's not. He's not going to be that good. Mm-hmm. But most of his limitations are things that I'm not overly worried about. The just being the mauler in the run game. Well, here's the thing. Not every guard has to be that. That's a 1997 way of looking at the NFL. Mm-hmm. It's not how this works. The Arizona Cardinals drafted Cade Mays. He's a starter right now. I mean, immediately. Steps in and is an immediate day one starter. He's a good pass blocker. He's long. He's a really athletic kid. He's just a little heavy-footed. So, being that pulling guard, and I refer back to San Francisco because that's the one everybody knows. If you ask him to do that, you're going to be disappointed because he's a bit of a lead foot. Mm-hmm. But if you ask him to hold up in the passing game, you've got a mobile quarterback, Denver Broncos. That's another good one. Russell Wilson back behind him. I think he could slot in and be an immediate starter right now. I've got a third-round grade on Cade Mays By discrepancy, I have 5th-round grades on Chris Paul and Marquise Hayes. So like I said, there's a chasm between here and what we've already talked about. And it just manages to go up from here.
Now, is this a guy that you like more than the industry, or do you feel like that's
I do.
The industry has him in that 3rd-round range as well?
Well, it's hard to figure out because a lot of people that do mock drafts and shit like that, Cade Mays gets pushed down to the 5th and 6th round, which happened last year with Trey Smith. And I went, that's stupid. That will never happen. When the talent evaluators get in there, that's not how that's going to go. Well, with Trey Smith, it did. He went 6th. I think he was in the 190s or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Could I see a path that Cade Mays does that? Yeah. But I tend to – this is an imitation league. And that goes all the way down to, hey, we missed on a guard last year with Tennessee that wound up being really good in the NFL. What are we missing on this guy? So I think there's going to be more evaluation on Cade Mays maybe than there was Trey Smith because there were health issues with him that I don't have with Cade Mays. So I don't think I'm drastically higher than the scouting industry. I would say I'm higher than the media is. There are a slew of guys that media types tend to like better than Cade Mays.
Okay, next up on your list at number 10, it's Chasen Hines.
Now, you want to talk about somebody I'm higher on than damn near anybody? I don't think anybody that doesn't share a last name or DNA with him likes Chasen Hayes as much as I do.
Okay.
Chasen Hines, excuse me. He's a lot of a dude. 6'3", 350. I mean, he's a fucking load. And there are things on tape that would make you a little nervous because he's another guy that he's been the biggest player on the field damn near every time he's ever stepped on the field. So are there some technique issues? Yes. Is he a little lead-footed? Yes. He's always going to be. He's 350 freaking pounds. However, the good – and there was, trust me, there's a lot of good. There was a lot of good between him and his line mate that we're going to talk about with the next spot on this list. The good was intoxicatingly good. I have a 3rd-round grade on him. My biggest fear with look, if you told me right now that this kid could manage his weight, I have no fear that he's a long-time starter in the league. I mean, I'm talking 6 to 8 year starter, which a guy that you're going to get probably in the 4th round. That's these are guys that make a career. Because you look at this and go, well, everybody else was down on him. Well, you shouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to coach him up. And I'll be honest with you, a team that I can't help but really like him with would be the Cincinnati Bengals. Having Bill Callahan as his or not Bill Callahan, his son.
Brian,
thank you. As dealing with him, I'm okay with that. Frank Pollock is his offensive line coach. Those are all things I can get behind. I do want him to have some high-level instruction. And you're going to have to pay attention to him because there were times on film that he looked drastically bigger than other times, which means he has weight issues, and you got to be careful with that because you give somebody that, and look, we're 2 big guys, so we can speak to this otherworldly. You give 2 people that have issues with their weight money, it's not going to make it better.
No.
So you're going to have to really watch him, really control what he eats. But if you can keep him in that 330, I think 330, I think is his wheelhouse. If you can keep him in that range, I think he will be a great value player in this draft.
All right, at number 9 on the top 13 interior offensive lineman list.
This is the one that everybody likes, and I don't see a lot of difference.
Ed Ingram at LSU.
He's the one that every prognosticator, he's gone ahead of Chasen Hines in every single mock draft I've ever seen. And I'll be honest with you probably should because he does not have that same weight issue problem. The tape looks very, very similar to me. I think Ed Ingram's a little smarter. There were more high-level football IQ plays out of Ed Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
He was also tasked with doing more. I fully believe that if you had switched the roles, you probably would be switching the draft grade. That's just how I look at this. I don't see a lot of bust potential here. And that's the reason he's as high as he is, because I do not see the same high ceiling. There are a couple guys that we're going to talk about with the next 2 selections that they have higher ceilings. They also have drastically lower floors.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy that I don't see a way he busts. You take him in the 3rd round, early in the 3rd, and you just kind of pencil him in as a starter for at least through the rookie deal. Could be a guy that, and I don't really have a good way to quantify this, but could be one of those players that in free agency you see 2 years or 4 years from now, sign that $6 million a year deal, and you go, wait a minute, is he really that good? Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's an above average starter in the NFL to me, a good to above average starter.
Okay. All right, let's get into the next bracket here.
This is where it gets much more upsidey and much less certain.
At number 8, the top 13 interior offensive lineman list. It's the kid out of UT Chattanooga, Cole Strange.
This is the first one on the list that I project as a center. Center is without a doubt the most bereft position in this draft of talent. There's just not guys there. There's a lot of projection of, this kid can play center, or we'll move him to this. He didn't show tremendously well at the Senior Bowl. I think he's better than that. He's a good run blocker right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a way with as bad as center is in this draft that he or the next guy we're going to talk about get out of the third round. Does that put him in a less than ideal position? It does. But he's another one of those that most of what I saw that made me nervous was on the outside. I don't give a damn what you did on the outside. You're not. I can tell you definitively you ain't playing outside in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a scout in the world with an IQ above the fucking can I'm drinking out of that thinks Cole Strange is going to play on the outside.
No, I've seen him listed as a guard everywhere.
Center. He should be listed as center because that's that. To me, and there's a blessing and a curse to that. It's probably going to make him money because I don't have 5 draftable centers in this entire class.
Mm-hmm.
I had 6, and then Donovan West had possibly the worst combine I've seen from an offensive lineman since Andre Smith. And that hurt. So now I look at him and go, you could end up in the back end of the second, and that just terrifies me. Because now you're a pressure starter. There's a huge difference between a guy that goes at the beginning of day 3 and goes in the middle part of day 2. Because the lay fan does not really care. The lay fan goes, we drafted a center. We're good there.
Yep.
So if teams start just blistering you, and you saw it in the Super Bowl, all right, so the help on somebody like Aaron Donald, if you've got somebody that teams can pick on, that guy's going to get vilified in a hurry. And my fear is that him getting propped up by how bad the class is going to make him look worse than he is. But in the right situation, I really like the kid. He's not as the tape was not as just road grader as you would like with him playing a lower level of competition. So I think there's going to be an adjustment there, but I do think he can make it. He is a kid that I really like.
And you mentioned the Senior Bowl, so he didn't have a good game? Because all week long I kept hearing buzz that he was turning heads.
The good was good, the bad was bad.
Okay.
And that happens a lot with guys that step up in competition.
And then, he goes to the combine and just rocked out all of the workouts.
And that's the thing is that all of those things together, that's how your stock gets elevated. Because what I heard from the Senior Bowl was, yes, there was some impressive, and there was some times that you went, okay, it's very obvious this guy played at UT Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't play at Tennessee. He didn't have, the Georgia defensive line coming after him. There were some technique issues, and when you saw a higher level of competition, he didn't fare that well.
Right.
But the good's very good. You just got to round out some of the bad.
Yep, he was in the top 4 in the bench press at the combine.
He's dumb strong. The problem is that it doesn't show on tape.
Yeah, he ran really well. Ran just a hair over 5 seconds flat on the 40-yard dash. The measurables are there. 6'5". You feel like he's a damn good offensive line prospect coming out of the FCS.
He's the 3rd best center prospect in this draft.
Okay. At number 7, it's Jamari Salyer from the 2022 national champion Georgia Bulldogs.
Jamari Salyer had a really good combine, like damn near everybody that played at Georgia did.
Right.
This is another guy that I do not understand why his projections were where they were. The way mock drafts go, there are 3 big waves of mock drafts. All right, so there's one right after the season ends because you're trying to catch eyeballs and teams that maybe got knocked out of the playoffs, maybe you just merely missed the playoffs. You're trying to prey on the fact that they want to continue to consume content. Another one comes out after free agency because now you filled the holes. Now it makes it a lot easier. Okay, the Bengals need a center. Well, they signed a center. Tremendous. We're good. And then you have the one right before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious. I was seeing Jamari Sawyer in like the 5th round, and that does not make a ton of sense to me.
It seems super low.
I also saw him listed as a tackle, and that does not make a lot of sense to me. He's a guard. 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 All of the negative of him is that he's heavy, and he was a little heavy-footed. What you saw at the combine is he's also freak of nature strong. I want to move his grade to a back end 2. I'm not there yet, but I'm damn close. He's one of the highest 3rd-round grades I have.
What else can he do? I mean, he had a good...
I can stop hearing people say anything about tackle.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the difference between interior offensive line in this draft and the tackles. There are a slew of guys that if you're in a specific skill set, specific scheme, you could fall in love with. Abraham Lucas from Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy that, depending on how you play, you can either love or hate. There's not a lot of that with interior guys. So what that usually lends to is that somebody like Jamari Sawyer, you could get screwed and drafted by a team that thinks you can play right tackle, and you are going to be a liability in this league because speed screwed with him at Georgia. You don't think it's going to screw with him in the NFL?
Of course it is.
Everybody gets bigger, faster, stronger. So you take the problems and you amplify them. If I knew definitively he was being drafted as a guard, he would be a 2nd-round grade to me.
Mm-hmm.
There are still enough people that think he can play tackle that it makes me nervous. I'm hoping after the combine performance that everybody realizes what I've already seen, and it's just straight guard. That's the case. He's a 2nd-round guy.
Yep. That's where I feel like he should probably be, not just because he plays for my team, because he's damn good.
I think the combine workout just got everybody in the industry to where he should be. Seeing him in the 5th round was just really starting to bother me. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, Jamari Sawyer, guard.
If I was the Rams, I would be all over him. If you let him fall to my first pick, I will happily walk that card up and do it with a big old shit-eating grin on my face.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's head over to Memphis. Let's talk about Dylan Parham. He's your number 6 on the top 13 interior offensive lineman for the 2022 NFL Draft.
He's my number 2 center. And I think he will play center in the league. There's going to be a bit of a transition there. He took snaps at the Senior Bowl at center. He played guard at Memphis. This kid's freak of nature athletic. I don't think he's scheme specific. I don't think he's any of that shit. You're just going to have to be kind of patient with him because I do think his best fit in the NFL is as a center. I think he'd be a very good guard.
Mm-hmm.
He's strong enough. You know, the bend is good. The height, weight, speed, the measurables, all those things are good. I think this kid's really bright, and that was one of the takeaways of people that I knew that were in Mobile. That was one of the takeaways. Anytime he spoke, it was really impressive, his ability to just talk football. That's really important with a center. And I'm not trying to slight guards here of, we put the dumb ones at guard. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Right.
What I'm saying is that when you mix somebody that is this athletic and this just raw talented, and I'm going to have to sculpt you anyway. Center's more valuable than guard, period. There's no analytic that you will ever see that does not tell you exactly what I just said.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I look at this kid and go, he's going to be a 2nd-round pick as a center. And he will be the 2nd center off the board. Cole Strange will be the 3rd.
Yep.
And Tyler Linderbaum obviously will be the 1st.
Yep.
There is a huge difference in what to expect off the jump between Linderbaum and Dylan Parham. But I do think he can come in and start right away. And in specific schemes, if he's not asked to do too tremendously much off the jump, I think he can be a high-level starter in this league immediately and projects ridiculously well. I've said this on the show before. I've got a couple guys that do what we do in Memphis. They cover the Memphis football team. I have heard more shit. I know more shit about this kid than I know damn near anybody in his draft.
Okay.
And none of it's bad. I have yet to hear one negative thing for him, except, he's a little short. Where do you hide that?
Mm-hmm.
At center.
Mm-hmm. At number 5, Kenyon Greene out of Texas A&M.
Conversely, here's a guy who did not have a good combine. Look, the problem with Kenyon Greene is I have always been told how good he is, and I've never seen it.
Nothing on tape shows
He was a
you.
high-level recruit. There's a lot of people that freaked out about. Hell, I saw people that were rating him above Ekwonu early in this process.
I've seen him as the number one guard in this draft.
And raw talent, great. It's inconsistent at best. He's not a good pass blocker right now. He's a mauler in the run game. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't see a path that he doesn't follow them in the third round, and they just go, okay.
We'll do that.
Hey, look, we'll do that.
Wait,
and we'll put Kenyon Greene next to Kendrick Greene, and we'll be happy for a long time.
Did you say third round?
I did. Wow. He's not going in the first round. I will bet you anything you want to bet. The combine was an atrocity for him. And it just amplified a lot of what I was already hearing. I didn't think he was a first-round guy in the first place. But it's the limited number of guys in this draft that play this position, I thought that might push him up into the back end of the first round. The combine amplified everything that we had already seen. I think his ceiling now is the middle of round 2. I'd say his floor is probably the middle of round 3.
Okay.
Because there's a freak amount. I mean, he's a 5-star recruit coming out. He's the number 1 player in the state of Texas coming out of high school. So there's a lot to like. It's just really inconsistent, and I don't think Jimbo Fisher did him any favors. I don't think he really fit. He's sure as hell not a tackle. Just to throwing that out there. And I don't think anybody with an IQ above salad dressing thinks that he's a guard.
I've never seen him listed as a tackle.
I have. There have been some.
All right.
The problem is that he's just not athletic. You know, the problem is that you've got a lot of good technique and there's a lot of good skill set and shit like that. He's just not athletic. And what I saw at the combine just amplified what I had seen on tape. And to be high on this kid, you have to think what you saw at Texas A&M is going to have to get better in the NFL. And I just don't buy that.
All right, then the next guy on the list, I have seen as a tackle. Never heard him referred to as a guard, so you got some splaining to do about Bernard Raymond out of Central Michigan.
He can do anything. This kid is so raw technique-wise that he can do anything you ask him to do. He can be a fucking swing tackle for all I care.
Right.
He can do a lot of stuff. The only thing is that whatever it is, you better hammer it immediately. He was a tight end at Central Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen a slew of these guys. Eric Fisher was one of these guys, and he kind of reminds me of Eric Fisher. The problem is that a lot of those guys come into the league, and teams fall in love with the potential, and look how good his feet are, and how big he is, and then you trot them out there like they're ready-made starters, and they get just absolutely shredded. I prefer him as a guard. That's what I think. I think that's his best fit in the NFL. He can be a right tackle. I don't think he can ever be a left tackle. He is a gigantic human.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have to put some time, money, effort, energy, all the other shit into this kid. He's from Austria?
Yep.
I think he's from Austria.
Yep.
You know, was a volleyball player growing up. There's a lot of raw talent in the kid.
Yeah, he came into school weighing 230 pounds.
Yeah. He also has very good hands for what that's worth.
You can use that. You can use that in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
He's going to be Mr. Goal Line Special.
Oh, yeah. And he can play guard, tackle. Hell, I think I don't really want him as a center because he's too damn tall.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot to like here. The thing that makes me nervous is the level of competition jump from where he was to where he is, or where he's going to be, is drastic.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it is so hard to find tackles in this league, I'm afraid somebody's going to miscast him, and speed rushers are going to drill his eyeballs out. How many linemen have we seen over the course of time? Just in the 4 years you and I have been doing this, how many tackles have I said they're really tall and they're really raw, and they come into the league and they get absolutely drugged down the sidewalk by speed rushers?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. When NFL teams figure out you are a liability in some shape, form, or fashion, they're going to hammer you on it. And I think he would be a liability against edge rushers. That's why I project him as a guard.
Okay. So you want to see
the raw of him. He's an NFL football player.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about that to me. I think he can play on the right side as a tackle. The best case scenario for him is a team slots him at guard. And I'm telling you right now, if I was the Cincinnati Bengals and I missed out on Zion Johnson at 31, this would be my pick. I'll add 2 high-level starting great free agent pieces, whether it's Ryan Jensen, Terron Armstead, Dwayne Brown, Brady Bozeman, whoever it is that Cincinnati goes after. I'm adding 2 starters in free agency, And my fail-safe would be this kid at 31 in the draft.
Okay.
And I don't think he's going to fall any further than that. First-round tackles, you're held to a much different standard.
Yes.
Because the lay NFL fan does not understand why you're getting your fucking eyeballs drilled out. They don't understand that you were a tight end 3 years ago and that you don't really understand how to deep set against a speed rusher that's faster than you, and you don't get that. It's not natural to you. There is a huge damn difference between playing tight end and playing tackle. There's a reason that we have the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't put the time into these guys, they'll wash out of the league in nothing. That's why I have him as a guard.
All right, let's get into the top 3 interior offensive linemen for the 2022 NFL Draft. At number 3, it's the kid out of Boston College, Zion Johnson.
Yeah, he's did you see all this stuff he did at the Combine?
He did all of it.
You remember who the first person to tell you that was? I have made a shitload of money on Boston College football over the years, and this kid jumps off tape. But played damn near every position on the line. A very versatile 6'3", 315, I think is what he weighed in at.
Mm-hmm.
They had the most reps at the Combine at 225. I think he did it 32 times.
Yep.
He's freak strong, and he's got good technique. He was just buried. He was buried at Boston College because nobody gave a rat's ass about Boston College football. They couldn't run a greasy peg up a cat's ass, but it wasn't his fault. When you put 4 taters next to a stud, are you blaming him for the fact that you can't run? And
right.
Some teams have, and I think that is just borderline ridiculous. He's one of the best athletes in this draft. And I know that sounds weird to say about a guy that's as big as he is. I think he has good instincts. I think he has there's just a lot to like. If I had a slight, I don't know that he'll ever be a great pass protector. And for a guy that's going to go at the back end of the first round, that's really important. But even saying that, I'm saying I don't know that he'll ever be great Pro Bowl level pass protector. I think he's always going to be very good at it. I think he's a guy that's a starter in this league for 10 years.
And can he be a center? That's the question, because he was doing it at the Senior Bowl, showing the scouts that he can take snaps at center.
And I'll be honest with you, that's one of the things that if 1 and 2 were not just so clear to me,
mm-hmm.
I absolutely love this kid. I absolutely love this kid. If somehow he wound up falling through round 1 and he was sitting there with the first pick in the second round, there's no way if I was the Jacksonville Jaguars I couldn't take him. No way. In spite of the fact guard's not my biggest need. It's going to be a pretty big need, but
right.
So are a lot of other things. I couldn't let him go.
Right.
That is one of my top 5 favorite players in this entire draft.
Kelvin Joyner says in the comments, surprise, Boston College produces some pretty good linemen.
Stunner. They have another one in this draft that you won't see on this list named Alec Lindstrom.
Mm-hmm.
His brother plays in the league. I don't think he has the high side that his brother Chris did. I haven't seen much of that, but
yeah, he didn't do well.
I just think he's going to be I think Alec Lindstrom would have been 14. If this was my top 14, then Lindstrom would have been 14.
All right, at number 2, it's the best center in the draft, the best center that Jeremy says he's ever graded.
Ever by a lot.
Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa.
This is my 5th highest graded player on this in this draft total. I have 6 6 top 10 grades.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best center I have ever seen, and the only one that's even really worth talking about is either Alex Mack or Nick Mangold.
Yeah.
You know what both of those guys had in common? They were multiple-time Pro Bowlers. They were stalwarts at their position.
And Hall of Famers. They're going to be.
Alex Mack will be. Nick Mangold, I'm afraid he'll never quite get there.
You don't think he's going to get there?
No, I don't think he'll ever get there. He should. He'll be in the Ring of Honor with the Jets, and he should.
Mm-hmm.
I say, and look, I'm going to rant and I'm going to bitch for a second about people that do what I do.
Okay.
I keep seeing Tyler Linderbaum falling to like 26, and that is the dumbest shit I think I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to make a sweeping declaration. There is not a snowball's chance in fucking hell that he falls past the Baltimore Ravens. Not one shot.
Yeah.
Because what does Baltimore do better than anybody?
Get the best player available.
They sit there and go, because you're sitting there at 16 going, please follow me, please follow me, please follow me. And Baltimore will invariably swoop in, grab the guy, and you go, well, shit, he's going to be 8-time Pro Bowler.
Mm-hmm.
There is no path to me that Linderbaum falls past 14. I think he's going to go higher than that. I've heard Carolina is drunk on him, but I've heard Carolina's drunk on a lot of people. Kenny Pickett,
they should be
Trevor
on the offensive
Penning.
line. I was going to say, with that offensive line, I'd be drunk on everybody in this draft.
Carolina's planning on pouring money in free agency-wise. They're going to throw a dumb deal at James Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
4 years, $40 million. And I think they'll do it as soon as free agency kicks off. But I would say the top side for him, Rob Johnson said in the comments, Todd McShay just released a mock today that Linderbaum fell into the 20s. That's one of the ones I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think Todd McShay ripped off my mock draft because he had a lot of shit that, like Atlanta trading up for Matt Corral. Okay, listen here, Todd. Todd. Okay. It's the first one I heard say that.
Uh-huh. Tyler Linderbaum's number 2 in this class.
Just so you know, I have no misgivings that Todd McShay was watching anything that I've ever done.
No.
I was joking.
And at number 1 in the top 13 interior offensive linemen of the 2022 NFL Draft, as chosen by Mr. Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene. He's a guard. He's a guard. He's a guard. Ike Mekwano from NC State.
He's also my number one best player in this draft.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
After the combine, he moved up to 1.
All right.
I think he can play right tackle. I've been completely dedicated that he was not, because I don't believe he's a left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
He had some bad tape at NC State playing left tackle. But I think he can be. If you told me one player in this draft was a first ballot Hall of Famer, I would bet my ability to have fun for the rest of my life it was Ike Ekwonu. Just did that same thing you did.
You did.
I think he can play any position. I do think he's going to go number 1, solely because this is just a weird draft where there's not many people. There's not many players in this draft that you feel like you know exactly what you're getting. And with Ike Ekwonu, I know exactly what I'm getting. I'm getting the best run blocker I think I've ever graded. I don't think I've ever seen a player that was a better run blocker than Ike Ekwonu.
Nope.
Mauler, all of those things. Freak athlete. Combine workout was dumb. Killed the week. Every person that talked to him loved him. Great, lateral movement, great quickness, great feet. There's really nothing for me to say negative here, except I don't see him on the left side. Because I think he would get absolutely drugged down the sidewalk by speed rushers.
Yeah, I don't see him on the left side either. I think as that right tackle road grader, I mean, he can get out into the second level and just lay some hits. And that's the thing I saw him do so many times with NC State, was be able to get out in front of, whether it be Zonovan Knight or Ricky Person. He's out in front of them leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really good at it. He's really damn good at it.
There are certain times he gets a little over-aggressive, which if I was picking nits trying to find something bad to say about him, it'd be that. And he's not a really refined pass blocker. That's what makes me so nervous about him on the left side. That's what terrifies me about him on the left side, is that his skill set, even playing guard, was not great on passing downs. It was borderline bad at times playing tackle. Now, those things can be refined. From high school through NC State, he was not asked to do that at a high NC State just didn't throw that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like they're running the fucking veer out here or anything like that, but he was more asked to be that guy in front of Person and Zonovan Knight.
Yep.
That's what he was asked to do. Now, I'm going to tell you this as clearly as I can. I am a New York Jets fan. My dream scenario is Ike Ekwonu falls to us at 4 and Kyle Hamilton falls to 10. There is no better way that this draft could go for me. And I've seen it that way a bunch of times, which excites me a lot. Because if you put this guy in one of those zone blocking schemes, San Francisco, Miami, New York Jets, there's a few others. Houston used to run it, then they don't, or at least I don't think they're going to anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say what I'm going to say lightly. If you told me this kid played guard in one of those systems, there is a possibility that you talk about this guy being one of the best players that ever played this game at that position. And I mean that.
Oh, okay.
I think he could be like all 125-year team at guard. That's how good his high side is. And that's what I finally come around to, is there's so much instability between Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, even Evan Neal. that I think we know what he's going to be. It's just that ceiling is not where you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
The ceiling is the roof on this guy. You're just going to have to kind of cater to what it is that he does to get the most out of him. I don't think he'd be a liability at left tackle. I just think he'd struggle with edge rushers. Cam Robinson, perfect example. He would be a very high-level version of that. I mean, that's a guy that just got a franchise tag from the Jaguars. Now, the fact that it's the stupidest franchise in sports, well, here's the thing. It's still a damn franchise tag.
It is.
So it's not like he was out there facing the wrong direction or shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think to get the most out of him, he needs to be a guard. And a road grader at that. Please follow the Jets. I don't ask for much. My college basketball team just got beat by 147 fucking points in the ACC tournament.
Oh, they did.
So, okay, I just karma, world, God, whatever, whoever it is, whatever you think I'm talking to right here. Please, just icky at 4.
I don't think it's going to happen. The more and more mock drafts I see, the more and more I see about the prognostications of how it's going to go down. He'll definitely be going by them because I've seen him most going 1 overall to the Jacksonville and 3 to Houston.
Yeah, those are the I'm just telling you, he ain't falling past 4. And if he's there at 4, the Jets will literally sprint to put in that card. Because that's what they were missing in the run game last year.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me I put that in front of Michael Carter, holy shit. Now I don't need Zach Wilson to be, a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Right.
I need you to be good. And I need you to be able to hand the ball to Michael Carter and let him go.
And get him and a healthy Mekhi Becton. That could be could be quite the offensive line.
He has the high, in terms of where a guy could drop, he and Aiden Hutchinson have the 2 highest. I don't think Hutchinson can fall past 3. And I don't think Ike Ekwonu can fall past 4. Thibodeau, I could see Thibodeau falling into the teens. I could see Neal falling to the back end of the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Just because teams go, the ceiling's not there. And do I think either of those things are going to happen? No, not really. But they could.
Evan Neal ain't getting past New York. If the Giants are sitting there on the clock at 5 and he's still there.
I'm not telling you this came out of somebody in their building. I'm just telling you he's not their number 1 offensive lineman.
Okay.
I don't think he's their 2. I think he's their 3. I think they have Penning and Ekwonu ahead of Evan Neal.
Really?
I'm telling you, people have called me crazy, and Baltimore fans hated that pick of Penning at 14. Here's the thing. I don't think you have to worry about it. I don't think he'll be there. I'm not sure he gets past 6 at Carolina.
Well, when we did our head-to-head mock draft, they were all gone by like 8. Every offensive lineman, or the top ones anyway.
And that very well could happen.
With Charles Cross and Evan Neal, Ike Ekwonu, Tyler Linderbaum.
And that very well could happen. And I'm telling you right now, there's a possibility that the last offensive lineman in that triumvirate very easily could be Evan Neal. I don't think there's a path he goes behind Charles Cross, but I could see a path he goes behind Ickey and Trevor Penning.
All right, that almost wraps it up for our top 13s. We got one more to go, and it's the one you've all been waiting for.
It's the best one. That's the best position in this draft class. I'm going to have to eat my Wheaties and all that shit for next week because it's going to be so good.
Yeah, edge rushers coming up next in the top 13. So look for that coming out in our happy hour. Hopefully we'll be back on Tuesday. We can keep the alliteration going. But
no, I'm doing away with the alliteration. You killed it. You broke it.
Aw.
Every word does not have to start with the same letter.
No. It doesn't have to. But it should.
No.
Mm-hmm. You could be wrong. Again, like I like to say, there's always a wrong side of every argument, and you can be wrong. That's fine. It's fine. All right. Seeing no rebuttals in the comments, I think we can adjourn this meeting of the House of Reprehensibles. Don't forget to go to the link in the description of this video and help out our good friend Justin Parton and the folks over at Thermo Fisher Scientific as they are participating in the Bowl for the Future. They're bowling to help out the Big Brothers Big Sisters program of Western North Carolina. Again, the link to donate to Justin's kitty is right here in the description of this video. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 3. Like I said, at the end of the ESPN Asheville show, who knows what we'll be talking about tomorrow. Russell Wilson gets traded on Tuesday. Wednesday was Carson Wentz. Who knows who's going to be traded coming up tomorrow, but we'll have it all for you, as well as your a more robust discussion about the ACC tournament, as well as the other major conference tournaments that really get in full swing around college basketball tomorrow. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. Y'all be safe. We'll see you next time.